one. Oh, boy. What a day. What a day. What's happening, guys? Smoking Tire Podcast. We hear our air conditioner's broken again, so I'm sweating like a...
Sweating to the oldies.
Sweating like a pig in Houston, Texas before
exciting.
it's about to meet somebody's smoker. John Hennessey.
How you doing, buddy?
Sir. How
What's
are
up,
you?
smoker?
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
And the late, not late, you're not dead, the great Vinny Russo.
The
great Vinny
The late
Russo
and
is
great.
here. What's
up, guys?
The
Nice
East
to be
Coast
back.
Ari Gold of automotive PR. The man who, with a straight face, could tell you that Maseratis are good.
Hey, he got paid to do that.
I used to be able
Scaramucci
to.
of the automotive.
I'm not going to fly that flag anymore.
No, Vinny,
Yeah.
Vinny, go way back. What year, Vinny? What year was the first?
05.
Oh,
No, before that was Auto Rocks.
The first Rob Ferretti cheap car challenge video was that 09?
God, it was 09.
08, 09.
Yeah.
Go look at the first ever Super Speeders cheap car challenge. Vinny killed his car in about 3.5 minutes.
Hey, Vinny's internet famous with his Viper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
He's got his-
you own the $10,000 Viper.
The $10,000 Viper.
Which is it Freddie that just has been writing about that? Who's
Yeah.
been writing about
Well,
that?
Freddie started the video when I told him that I was buying the car, and then it got picked up by Jalopnik, and then it got picked up by Road and Track.
I mean, a $10,000 Viper. I'm about that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I mean, it's
How many $1,000 Viper is it now, though? Is it the $24,000 Viper all
No,
in?
I'm at all in right now. With me fixing the air conditioning, I'm at 21.
Ooh,
Right there,
boy.
right there.
Did
And
you-
the value
did
just
you-
went up because they just stopped Viper production.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
there you go.
it's like Babe Ruth dying.
What?
Yeah.
Everything's going
Exactly.
What
Buy
have you
'em
done
now.
to it? What condition did you get it in? And then
So
what have you
it
gotta
was
do?
running when I got it, but it was only running on 7 cylinders.
I love the statements we
Technically-
all use to justify
Yeah.
buying.
Give or
a
take
car.
3
It
cylinders.
It turned
Yeah.
on.
No,
okay.
What's the
I have
furthest
the
you've driven
video.
a car?
That's how you
on
always
least
justify
number of
buying.
cylinders?
Yeah.
Once I took the motor apart, what we found out was that the guy blew the valve seals on it, which we suspect he drove it with 87 octane and then over revved it. The guy that I bought it from was 73
Boy,
years
really
old.
responsible Viper
Yes.
owner there.
He was
Of course.
he was 70. No, listen, he
Par
was
for the
73 years
course.
old and he had Asperger's syndrome, so he was legit
That's
had a little
okay.
issue. And there were some weird things, like he scratched the top up trying to use a flathead screwdriver to pry the top off because it's an RT10.
Wait, it's not a soft roof one. It's
He
not a hard
has
roof, right?
both. He has
Okay.
both at
Does
hard
it have
and
real
soft.
windows?
Yeah, it has
Okay,
real windows. It's
so
a Gen
it's-
2.
okay,
It,
all right,
it has
so it's-
ABS, first year
What is
ABS.
it, 2000?
2001, yeah.
Okay.
First year ABS. Has air conditioning, all the creature comforts. So, yeah, it was a good buy. It was a good buy. It was
It's
all
got the
there.
sauna exhaust system where you're enveloped in
Oh,
exhaust.
you're just
Yeah.
Yes.
enveloped
Enveloped
in hot, like, so my
Yes.
house has that floor heating where they
Yeah.
run hot water through your floors. to heat
exactly
your
It's the
house.
same
that.
thing.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But unlike my house, it actually gets
Yeah.
real hot.
Yeah.
The one in my house stinks, but the Viper one makes the cabin.
You can
Yeah.
you can see in the video the driver's side sill, the paint is peeled off of it from him.
Same with every other Viper.
Overheating the catalytic converter.
That's
to
just
the
from
point.
driving in
Every
traffic, probably,
Viper
right?
has that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
Do you prefer side pipes or the center exhaust exit years?
Well, all the exhausts went along the sides. They didn't design the chassis to where the exhaust went through the center.
Oh, really?
So they all go along
So
the
in the
side
center
sills. So the
years, they just
original,
go back?
so
Yeah,
yeah, so the
it just
original
goes back
Gen
over
ones,
the-
they were the side pipes.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they decided to go rear exit like a '96 in the Gen 2 GTS, it went along the side, then it ducked back in and went out the back.
yeah.
The sound going out the back sounds better.
I prefer the sound of the center of the
Absolutely.
center exhaust
Yeah.
years.
No,
And
absolutely.
anybody sitting in traffic does, or loading into a
I
trailer
mean,
does.
I saw a Viper on the driving home the other day, and I mean, you know, I've done. You
got
got
a
your
long-
million mile. You got
you've
your
got a
million mile
long-
Lexus.
yeah.
I have hundreds of thousands of miles in Vipers, but I haven't driven one really seriously in like probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And I heard one sitting at the light. I'm like, that sounds like a UPS truck.
You don't miss
It
it.
sounds like, no, I do
It
not
does.
miss a
It-
UPS
No.
truck. I mean,
It
I
does.
It's so distinct that
It's so distinct.
the half
it's
of the
two
giant
Audi 5
V10.
cylinders.
Yeah.
You know.
We didn't
Anyway.
really. We went straight into Vinny's cheap
Yeah,
Viper.
sorry.
But John Hennessey,
talk Viper all day.
tuner extraordinaire,
Oh, yeah.
Viper legend, as it were. At one point,
Yes.
At one
infamous.
point, making very. I mean, I guess technically you still do fast Vipers.
Yeah, we
but
do a few, but I mean, at one
It's
time
not
we
the
had
big business anymore.
40 Vipers in our shop back in the late 90s, but now we're so much more diverse.
What was it 0 to 200? Was that the thing?
Faster
in
than
the
a
Viper?
Veyron.
Yeah, we
Faster than the
Raiden
Veyron?
truck
Yeah.
cover beat the Veyron. I think
remember
we were 0 to 200 in 20 seconds, and the Veyron was like 24, 25.
Yeah, that's
It was
good.
10 years ago.
That's good.
nuts.
Yeah, it was fast.
Now, I mean, now
shoot,
now runway racing is
250
it,
and a
right?
half mile.
Yeah, now runway racing is where
Yeah.
it's at.
Yeah,
Everyone's
half
doing the
mile
runway
guys.
racing, and
I ran mine in the half
250
mile.
in the half. What did you run in the half? In yours?
143.
Oh, I ran
impressive.
141.8 in my vet in the half before I
It's
sold
impressive,
it.
sure.
Yeah, it's not
It was
bad.
okay.
Anything in the 140s and up is respectable.
I sold it to Jack Baruth, who just won Touring 1 in that SCCA Targa Southland thing.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
It's like the, I don't know, multidiscipline. It's like SCCA's mini version of One Lap.
Okay.
And him and his lovely wife, Charlie, took it and got themselves a little trophy.
Very nice.
In your car?
In my
Awesome.
Corvette. Yeah. Congratulations to them.
And the top stayed on.
Yeah.
The top. Oh, my God, the top. So, what's you're on the way to Monterey right now.
Yeah, we're
This
getting
is
ready
a
to road
swing
trip
through.
up with the Gold Rush people.
Yeah, we're
And,
doing the fuel run.
Don't tap on the table.
Don't
They're
tap
all
on the table.
everyone at home's going, "Oh my
Oh
God, stop tapping on the
my!
table."
Headphones,
One
RIP
day I'm
headphone
gonna-
user.
yeah,
Sorry,
alright, one day I'm gonna get a nice table that like is made of
I
Tempur-Pedic
have all
foam.
my nervous twitches.
I took my
so-
bracelet off just for that reason.
Somebody
Yeah.
get that Michael Fuchs.
Fuchs.
Who-
Yeah,
Fuchs.
Fuchs.
Somebody
Fuchs.
get that guy on the horn. Tell him I
Yeah,
need a
the
podcast
Tempur-Pedic
table
man.
size.
I'll see Michael in a couple days, so I'll tell him.
Are you homies with that guy? Is he your
I
boy?
know him. No, we're not. I mean, I wouldn't pretend to be homies with Michael, but he's a very cool
Is it
guy.
the first time you've ever spoken the word homie out loud?
No. You young guys, you young bucks, I'll just
It's the
you
first
know.
time Fuchs has heard the word homie, probably.
So he is like he is mega rich. He invented Tempur-Pedic foam, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he
and
did.
and he's got we've talked about it a few times on the podcast, the most hilarious car collection.
They're so awesome. I was at Pebble Beach last year, and I'm going to the exotics on Cannery Row, and I'm just pull up to the light, and here's this beautiful bright blue Rolls Royce convertible.
Is it blue on blue on blue on blue on blue?
Yeah.
But no, it's all white interior,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that is badass. I wouldn't own it, even if I
Yeah.
had the money. I wouldn't own it, but I'm like, that looks so
Well,
cool.
this
That was
guy
Fuchs.
loves his colors.
he's-
I
cool guy.
drove of his 599. Now, he has a collection. I can't remember what year it is, but he's got one of every year done in white on white.
Yeah.
In everything. And I
Yeah.
drove that 599 at Festivals of Speed in Florida when we were offloading it
You
off
like
the truck. I went
polarizing
snowblind.
Sunglasses.
Literally snowblind. Like I pulled in like I couldn't see because the sun was so bright because it's such a bright white leather. It's
He's a cool
insane.
guy. I
So
like
he
Mike.
buys. He bought like a dozen 430s and Ferrari 430s and
Yeah.
has them all
Because he
different
can.
colors.
They're
He-
lawn ornaments for him.
This guy doesn't give a fuck. And there's a town
Yeah,
in northern.
that's his saying is that zero
Right.
doesn't give a Fuchs.
Right.
Yeah.
So well, I was gonna say there's this town in Northern California called Weed, right? And they're real cheeky about it.
Uh-huh.
And everything in town has like a funny name relating to weed. This guy's Instagram
Yeah.
is like fucks with everything. Like
Yeah.
Zero
every-
Fuchs given.
Every
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
I think his handle is fucks with Michael, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Something like that.
It's
FUX,
hilarious? This
if you're
guy.
looking for him on Instagram.
When you could go to Rolls Royce and tell them I want a bright yellow Phantom.
Dude, Timmy, pull up Michael Fuchs car collection.
like FUX.
Yeah.
Michael FUX car collection. Show the people some of his hilariously colored. He's got an all
FUX.
yellow. I
Yeah,
saw that
sure,
all.
he's got all kinds
There
of
was
stuff.
like I think it was a $5.99 or something that was like
Yeah.
powder blue. The whole the
Hey,
dash.
when
the
I see
wheel,
when I
like-
see Michael, I'll ask him if he wants to podcast with you.
dude, I would.
Anytime he's in LA,
I mean, he really seems like just a.
he's a
just
genuine guy. He's a good
character.
guy. He loves his cars. He loves
He
kids.
seems like such a character with this
Look,
guy.
he has multiple Ferrari Californias.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he's got like 10 of every. I'm telling you, in 2005 or 6, the New York Motor Club era, when me and Larry were doing this thing,
There's
this
his
guy
white-
had a
white on
line
white,
of photo shoot,
612,
where
white on white,
he had
599.
10 of each
White on white
2005 model
California.
supercar parked outside his. He's got like 4 of those
Yeah.
those buildings.
There's his
Yeah.
California, his 612, and his 599, all white on white. He's got a bright green 918.
Dude, rich people are too rich.
Go,
You know,
Yeah.
when you're
go back out, see they got other pictures of
when
it.
you're
That's-
broke and
hey, that
crazy.
is job creation.
When you're broke and crazy, people call you crazy. When
Right.
you're
Oh, yeah.
when you're
you're
crazy
rich.
and you have money, you're called
you're
eccentric.
eccentric.
This one
Yeah.
here's got all his white cars in the corner here.
All the white cars, look at all the white Ferraris, dude. Pull up.
boom, boom, boom.
All the white Ferraris. That's so.
You know, when people like
Dude, you
that,
wish.
people ask guys like that, why do you do that? Why do you own 12,
Yeah.
cars? Because he can.
But let me ask you something. You got Michael Fuchs money, John
you-
Hennessey.
Yeah.
There's
If
his
you got
yellow-
Michael Fuchs money,
Where'd it go?
are you doing that, or are you
No.
having a little more variety
go.
in your diet? Because
So
he's got variety in
this is
color,
his-
but do you?
This is
do
his
you
yellow on yellow.
Oh, the whole yellow rolls. balls.
No, it's balling.
Now see the red one next to it here?
Yeah.
So that red one next to it actually has red carbon fiber trim where it's normally teak.
That's probably
He
cool.
had them all
I bet
done
you
in
that's
red.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With a
yeah.
white
No,
interior.
it's
White interior.
Not all of his cars are ugly. Some of them are very,
I
very
think
pretty.
some of them are pretty cool.
I just don't understand having more than one of the same kind of car.
Dude, there's shoes to
Because you
him.
can.
I guess, yeah.
Like you buy. Didn't you say you buy like Pumas every year, like
Oh,
3 at a time?
You know what's so funny? I say this. I'm such a fucking hypocrite. I say this. Meanwhile, these Pumas that I'm wearing, I literally have in 10 colors. The same shoe,
Sure, yeah.
10 colors. And when
I've started buying cheap sunglasses on Amazon. That's kind of my new thing.
Oh, we're going to go with some Dylan Optics, my
Oh,
friend.
okay,
The
all right,
official eyewear
cool.
of the Smoking Tire. Plug
Right.
it. Plug
Yeah.
it.
You look like Ray Charles wearing that
The
inside.
plug-ola is strong. So let's back it up a bit. Let's
All right.
instead of talking about silly rich people and their there's the photo shoot of his driveway.
Yeah.
With are those all 430s? so
Pretty
funny.
close to it, yeah.
He needs more donut marks around that
Oh,
little.
Yeah.
He's got an
Garden
Alpha
there.
8C, so I mean,
I just
Stunning.
ran into Jiminy Glick driving his Alpha 8C. It was dirty, man.
we passed
dailies it.
Salamondra on the way here,
Did ya?
driving a Aventador, and then his
blacked out
Phantom.
rolls with his
It wasn't
posse.
Pairs? You have a
Yeah.
posse?
Yeah, they were front
Oh,
to tail,
bro.
In
and I kept
formation.
waiting for like the windows to roll down
That's
for like the Cheech and Chong
hilarious.
cloud of smoke to come out the windows.
I saw in Santa Monica a few weeks ago Conor McGregor
Yeah,
and his posse, and he had 3 Rolls-Royce press cars.
nice.
And just rolling in a train. He was in the front with not the Dawn,
Yeah,
you know, the convertible, top
Yeah.
down,
Ballin'.
blinging, and then there was a Phantom and a Ghost behind him.
If you can pull it
Wow.
off,
Trying
man,
to
do
be
it.
like Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, Mayweather does that in Vegas.
Sure,
He rolls
sure,
up in a
yeah.
fleet of cars. You ever seen the badging on the back of all his cars? He puts
No.
Money Mayweather on the
Oh,
back.
TMT.
It is so
The money
tacky.
thing.
So he owns all the cars, and then
Yeah, he owns his
Yeah.
homies just roll around like in a Mayweather train.
Yeah, he buys the Rolls Royce or buys the Bugatti for $3 million, and he tries to sell it at Barrett Jackson.
Yeah.
And only brings $1 million and
comes
gets
up.
pissed off and leaves. That's what he did last January.
Did you? Tell me about Barrett. I love Barrett Jackson. Actually, I think it's a
love
great.
Barrett
Schumacher.
too. It is like a freak show, carnival, car event, celebrity watching, food. You know, like you go to the carnival to get all the
Yeah.
bad food that you're not supposed to eat. That
It's the
tastes so
Barnum
good.
and Bailey's of
It is. It is. But I tell you what, Craig and Carolyn
That's
Jackson, they put on an amazing show. So if you want to buy something,
oh, I really
it's like
shouldn't
going to
get another
Vegas.
numbers matching CUDA. I'm
It's-
pretty full. But
Yeah, well, it's
Oh,
like going to
fuck.
Vegas, but at least you get to leave with
You
something
get to leave
tangible.
with something.
You know, the ballers go to Vegas and leave all their money behind and go home with nothing to show for it except for a story. At least Barrett Jackson, you have a car.
Is that Barrett Jackson
True.
in Vegas or Scottsdale?
No, Scottsdale's the big one. I mean, they have the
Yeah.
one.
They
in
get
the
you all drunk
Northeast.
for the bidding too, right?
Oh yeah,
No,
there's-
I mean if you got the baller bidder card, they're gonna give you the 20 ounce
that
7-Eleven
vodka, the
Slurpee,
big gulp.
big gulp.
Here's
you know
an-
where it's got this much Coke and about that much rum in it, right? So-
insider tip. Okay, so if you go walk around and you see the bidder badges, the lower your number, the more you're worth.
Is it literally?
Well,
Yeah.
what,
in-
okay, the
to
way
to
they
an-
work.
to an
to
extent,
one
yeah.
ratio?
So they
No,
have
no.
they have your normal bidder badge, and then they have VIP bidder, which means you have $1 million line of credit,
Uh-huh.
and that's
Yeah.
prominent on your badge. And then they have the platinum VIP, which means you have a $5 million and up buying ability. And I think last I heard they had 80 guys there that
Yeah.
had that kind
$5
of
million line
spending.
of credit with
Line of-
Barrett. Just
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, where they can spend over
Yeah.
$5 million or whatever.
I got a bidders pass to my Monterey last year, and they ran all my stuff, and then,
Sure.
I was like in the back row.
Yeah.
It was not
Yeah,
it was
we
not
can
a
let Fair and Hennessey will let them buy the under $15,000 cars.
Yeah, I
T-shirt
had
carts
an
over here.
18.5
Yeah.
hard
Anything
line.
you guys want off the
Hey, but,
T-shirt
you know,
card.
the crazy thing is if we went to one of these things and had a few drinks and say like 10 grand,
Yeah.
we could buy some shit.
Oh, hell
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I learned last year after
those are the cars I
going-
want. I don't care about the $1 million cars,
No.
the $300,000 cars.
No, I did some commentating for Meekum, and
Yeah.
the move is to go on Saturday when they're selling the big cars,
Right.
and then you go in the bid goes on room.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah, the
stuff that
secondary.
didn't sell,
Right,
Yeah.
the
and it becomes a
leftovers.
silent. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
write your bid on the windshield,
Nice.
and boom, you can pick up some winners in there.
Right.
That just got missed because it wasn't on the good TV coverage or whatever. But so I learned about this. There's a guy at Monterey. There's all these like loan sharks that roll to Monterey
Yeah.
and will bankroll you for bidding at 4% or something.
What a killer idea.
Because people don't, they either don't think they're going to buy something or they don't get a bidder's pass and whatever. But they're wandering around, and there's these guys who will bankroll you for
Great
cars.
idea.
I have a good friend. I have a good friend of mine. I'll let him know about this. I won't mention any names, but he went to Meekum at Barrett Jackson for the first time last summer, and he's got the bankroll, and he had a few too many drinks, and some car rolled across the stage and like wasn't paying attention, kind of waved his arm up in the air, and next thing he knew, he was writing a check for $400 or $500 for some car.
Oh no!
man.
Is it a nice car?
Well,
at
it was a really nice. It was so nice that Jay Leno showed him how to operate it
Oh, really?
after the deal.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he loves the car now. But
I envy.
he's got
Jay
a great,
'cause he
great
knows how to
story.
start like, and Jay could carjack anybody.
Jay knows more about cars than anybody. There's no human on earth.
Jay's
that has a
forgotten
brighter
more about
knowledge.
cars than I'll ever
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah,
he's
but
a
I have
genius.
better shirts.
And sunglasses.
Yeah.
I love Jay. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Knock the
Did-
denim.
Huh?
Don't knock the denim.
I'm not knocking. I think Jay's strategy with the denim is genius.
Yeah.
He can mix and match segments with his show. He can do fill bits anytime.
But he was wearing the denim. I've known Jay for 25 years.
He's
He's
been
always
doing
had
it
the
the whole
denim.
time, right?
That was like I'm a garage mechanic. I get my hands dirty, and
Yeah.
maybe he probably did back in the day before he had any money. You know?
Now he only needs one shirt because it stays clean.
He still does some stuff. I was,
does.
I
No,
he
was
gets
at a
his hands
shop and
dirty.
like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
cleaned his entire fire truck and like polished
Yeah.
the entire thing. I mean,
No, he definitely.
he's
is
not.
down.
Yeah.
I'm joking. He's down with it for sure. He
No, he's not a poser by any stretch.
No.
No.
But I don't even remember where I was going with that. But if when he can explain to you how to start your car, that is a good moment.
Yeah.
That was for that dude. It might be
Yeah.
worth $500,000.
I mean, just if you get a chance to, hear him explain about one of his steam cars and
Oh
steam
my
engines.
God.
Oh, that
It's
was
crazy.
awesome.
The
Ultimate
engineering that went
nerd.
into those.
Mhm.
I mean, he's got one that he owns. I think it's at a speed record of 140 back in like the 1920s
I
or
remember
30s.
him
for
showing me that
steam.
when I went there. Yeah.
And the torque out of those.
I think
is
it
crazy.
was a Stanley steamer of some sort,
Some
right?
sort, that's right, yeah.
And
What's
he set
funny is-
himself on fire driving it or something.
Well, yeah. If you run out of water, he told me a story one time. When you drive those, you have to carry a hose with you, and if you run out of water, they'll explode.
Yeah.
So he's like stops in the middle of Burbank, and walks up and knocks on this lady's door, and like, "Ma'am, can I plug into your spigot to put some water in my steamer car so it doesn't blow up?" And
It's hilarious.
anyway,
He's got a new Ford GT, which I didn't get to drive. We got to see in action at the track, and
Yeah.
whoa. You have any
sweet.
customers with those yet? Waiting for a little extra love.
I got an allocation.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you do the video and the whole? You jumped through all the hoops and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do the video. When we had to fill out all that whole application thing,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, I didn't do that.
And you still got an allocation?
yeah, allocation. Thanks, Ford.
Good.
Membership
All
has
those
its
people-
privileges.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
When's your
sure.
car come in? Do you know?
I'm getting ready to spec it out now. So
You got let's hear the colors. What do you think?
yeah, they just announced it. So it's the 2018 Heritage
Oh, you got the
Edition.
next
It's the red,
one.
the red with white.
The white.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
it looks good.
Dan Gurney and AJ Foyt are friends, and so want
The
to get them
red
to
white
sign
looks
it.
better on the new gen than it did on the last gen.
I
The
agree.
last gen red white was not my
Well,
color.
red white. So the most in the 0506 Ford GTs, white with blue stripes and red with white stripes were the most. So,
Yeah.
but I like the new one because they'll probably make less than 40, maybe 30 of those cars. So it'll be rare, and it commemorates. It's got the number
Yeah.
one.
It's a cool car.
But,
I mean,
the car that Gurney, they commemorates the car that Gurney and Foyt won the race driving. So
that car's
overall.
really got some presence in person.
Oh,
You been around them
Yeah,
yet?
yeah. I was in Detroit a couple weeks ago, and
Have you had a go?
I have not.
There,
I have not
I
sat
mean,
in it, but I haven't driven it.
I didn't even get to sit in it. I was driving the NSX, and we had very little time to do it. But it seemed very little, really little.
Yeah, it's a race car.
Yeah. But it's got some presence in person. And when I was standing on the front straight and Chris Harris came by, we were at VIR, that front kink,
Yeah.
where it's like in a fast car, that's a yeehaw moment there.
Right.
And he came by at what must have been 140 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour.
Didn't flinch, didn't lift.
No. Not Chris Harris.
Right.
No.
It's got an active arrow. It's got active arrow too.
It's got.
And
Yeah,
he said it
hit
works.
the air brake, and it's
Sure. It's a very trick car.
it in track mode though. It's extraordinarily low. Like
It looks so bitchin' in track
It looks
mode.
bitchin', but it's like almost like hard parking. Like Chris was saying, this. I'm hoping this isn't considered giving away his film. It just a few driving notes from Chris Harris on the Ford GT. It's it has like a spring and a torsion beam apparently,
right.
and when you go into track mode, it compresses the coil spring, and it is basically just using the torsion beam. So in track mode, it has very little travel.
Okay. It's like a go-kart.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of like a formula car actually that they just put bodywork over.
Okay.
And so it is like it's like a race car, but the NSX was like That was like revelation. The 40T
Really?
is kind of what you expect. It's a fucking race car.
Sure.
The NSX was a revelation. That
Would
was
you would you daily an NSX?
Yes. Here's what would keep me back from it: the trunk, which is small, but that's not a deal breaker.
Right.
It's small, and the exhaust is routed like right underneath it. So like you pretty much couldn't put groceries or anything.
But
in
if
the
you
trunk.
go
It would
get food,
really,
you buy some soup. You know, you get some matzo ball soup.
Pizza
yeah,
delivery
throw
car.
in the
It
trunk.
would be
There
a
you
great
go.
pizza
An
delivery
Uber
car.
Eats.
Yeah.
There you go.
Domino's
Papa
built those
John's.
Domino's
Yeah.
I
cars.
get Leia Pritchett delivering pizzas.
Hell
That would
yeah.
be a good
Yeah.
gimmick.
That
for
would
them.
be.
But dynamically, wow.
Yeah.
Really. You know, it's sort of like a mini Porsche 918.
Okay.
And it's heavy. It's like 3,800 pounds,
Right.
but it's real fast. And the coolest thing is, you know, it's all-wheel drive because
Right.
it's got the electric motors in the front.
Yeah.
But, you know, your typical all-wheel drive car with a mechanical linkage or a viscous coupling or whatever, with a drive shaft and a
Right.
transfer case, it'll be pushy. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
won't be able to really rotate it on power.
So
The
they can vector and they can dial in the torque, so you can feel like you're
the NSX, it's
balanced.
it's torque vectoring, obviously, 'cause
Right.
and it's also brake vectoring, regenerative brake vectoring.
Right.
And then it does this thing where it overdrives or underdrives wheels to add stability on the straights. And then if you go, I'd like to drift this, and you turn traction control off and you huck it into a slide, it becomes rear-wheel drive. And it lets you fucking do a huge, nice, perfect slide,
Wow.
no problem.
Wow.
And it's just like, whoa, where did this thing come from?
Well, they only spent 10 years developing that
Right?
car.
Yeah,
you
I know. But it's definitely not the old NSX. Like whatever, if someone is thinking that it's not that. But wow, I mean, really,
It's rare that the sequel is better than the original.
it is better.
We judge it with a different lens, though. I mean, that was 30 years ago developed, and like technology's changed so much and everything.
Timmy, give us some new NSX pictures. You lazy fuck over there. It's the the old NSX is a great road car. It's not very confidence inspiring on the track. That's the color I drove too. That blue. That blue is hot in person. I think they charge like $6,000 for the blue, but it's money. Great depth to it.
What's another 6,000 on top of the 180 or something that they
Base
car?
156. The
Yeah.
one I tested was 187.
Yeah.
You consider it a great value?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I think here's the problem. I think most people think of like a 488 as a $200,000 car when really it's like a $350,000 car.
Yeah.
Right.
So $200,000, you're comparing it to like a base R8,
Right.
right, or a used Ferrari
Mm-hmm.
or 911 Turbo S. The Turbo S is more practical
Right.
and probably just as fast, but there's something to be said for having something that drives great, looks great, and is not a 911.
Not to
Yeah.
mention the maintenance is going to be a lot less than a 488. And I
Could
promise you pull up to an event, you're probably less likely to see one of those than a dozen other
Probably.
488s that are going to be there.
488s are good though. Have you
Yeah,
had one? Have you had a
no,
go
no.
on one of those
Yeah,
yet?
yeah.
They're real
That's
fast.
impressive. I got to ride with Kimi Räikkönen around Daytona.
Oh, yeah,
With a
remember
488.
that? Yeah.
488. What was that like?
It was pretty. I mean, his driving was pretty killer. I mean, I thought he was going to go out and go like 6 or 7 tenths, but he was sliding it around quite a bit. And,
That was probably his
the car was
6 or
totally
7
Yeah.
hooked
tenths.
up. Yeah,
When those guys are sliding and
I
smiling.
asked about that, but I asked a pro driver friend of mine. He says, it's hard to go from, if you're used to driving at 9 or 10 tenths, it's hard to go down to 6. That's where you
I'm
make
sure.
mistakes. He says
Yeah.
you can knock it back a tenth, but anyway,
Yeah.
whatever the case.
What was
I mean, he
Kimmy
didn't
like?
talk.
He didn't talk.
No, he didn't. No, he did talk a little bit, but the whole thing is, this was at the Daytona. She'll send us down for this big
The Ferrari Challenge.
Finale Mondiale deal at Daytona. And the cool thing, you were there with
Yeah.
me. There was like 1,000 Ferraris, all their best cars and the race cars, and Kimmy and Sebastian were there, but there was no spectators. Nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
So we're like just
You're
hanging
just
out
hanging
there,
out?
and
Oh, it was awesome.
we were actually
That's
at the press
great.
conference. If you got time, I'll tell you a few stories about Daytona with these guys. Somehow we get into the press conference. We're like in the press room, and there's all these people are being prim and proper. And they hand me the microphone. I'm wearing my cowboy hat.
Yeah,
I feel a
John's
little-
wearing his
sexy.
cowboy
Ask
hat.
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of dancing around the fact that Ferrari really hasn't done much winning in quite a while. And so I'm like, well, I'll just go and ask the question. I
Yeah.
basically said to Vettel, I said, I think we have a video clip of
So
it
there's
somewhere.
Vettel, Kimi, Sergio Marcone's up there.
Marchione
Yeah,
hadn't got there yet.
Oh, that's
he hadn't,
right,
he hadn't
yeah.
rolled in yet. But I'm like, okay,
all the drivers
all
were
right,
there.
so our boys, I'm going to ask the question that everybody's kind of thinking, but nobody's asking. What's the plan about winning some races this year?
Oh God! And you said this in a cowboy hat?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like they were shocked, and I kept waiting for the Italians to come just like grab me and drag me out the
Yeah.
door.
You start
And
cursing
then,
in Italian, throwing
Vettel was actually
espresso
pretty
at
cool.
you.
Vettel actually kind of started laughing. He says, well, that's the plan.
Yeah.
You know, and now here we are. What 6-8 months later, they've proven that they're back, and it's really kind of cool to see.
You just reminded me that I should probably watch some Formula One this year. Have they been winning? I hate to say we've been all
It's
over.
been
We've been all
interesting.
over the world. We have not been watching any
Yeah.
racing.
No, it just hasn't been like before with the whole
6. What do you thought? 24. Oh, you're sorry, Tim. Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean at least they're it's not just a 1-2. Who's going to win? Is it going to be like last year with Hamilton and
murdering and
yeah.
Well, so they are winning. That's good for them.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
probably terrible for business. They should build a crossover now.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But the
Don't
488 ride with Kimmy, one cool thing about Kimmy is he's known as the Iceman and he never smiles. And so I'm riding with him and I'm, we got video camera and I'm doing Facebook Live or something on my phone. And so I'm talking to my phone after the lap. And the lap was a badass. You ever been around Daytona?
I have as a passenger.
So, proper driver in a fast car going through the bus stop. Dude, he comes along the back straight. He comes along the back straight. He does hard braking. Then he's back on the power all the way through the bus stop. I'm like, I know we're not going to crash, but I'm like, this is freaking impressive.
Yeah,
as shit.
yeah.
The car's impressive, and I'm like, I have one of the world's best drivers giving a ride, and I'm like, I am jacked. And so we're coming down the pit lane for me to get out and put another guy in there. And I'm talking to the, YouTube or Facebook or whoever I'm talking to. And I said, okay, all right, there it is. A ride with, Formula One driver and world champion, Kimi Räikkönen, a man who's badass driving, does the talking. And he looks over at me like this, his eyes wide up, and you could tell he's smiling underneath the helmet. He won't ever smile in public. You won't ever find a picture of him smiling, but that fucker was smiling from cheek to cheek. It was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you know who you were?
Nah, those guys don't care. Those guys don't care who we are.
They don't care about tuner cars?
Maybe they do. I think Hamilton's into fast stuff. I knew into Pagani.
Yeah, Hamilton's got like Zondas and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't he drunk crash his Zonda in Monaco? I think he did.
Hey,
I don't know. Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
In 30 years, though, there'll be like legendary F1 racer,
Formula
Lewis
One
Hamilton.
crash.
Yeah. Well.
So what's happening? We should.
Take a break?
Yeah, experimental break.
Yeah.
Just to make sure
Bio break.
we are struggling with
Technology
today, but just to make sure we don't vaporize an entire show, let's take a break and check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Sell a little real estate, and then we'll be back with John and Vinny.
Rock on.
Cool.
This episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you by Drive On. Do you get bored with your car after a few months? Wish you could change cars more often without losing your ass? I certainly do. In fact, I feel that way right now. Between depreciation, sales taxes, and other fees, ooh, is it bad out there. If you want to drive a new car every couple of months or every year, check out driveon.co. Drive On is a luxury car sharing network for car enthusiasts to share each other's cars. Simply insert your car into the network and take one valued within $6,000 of yours. They have everything from 3 Series BMWs up to Porsches and Teslas. The average Drive On user saves over $5,000 a year compared to traditional buying and selling. Drive On has it all covered, from insurance to maintenance to driver screening, so you can be sure your car will be in good hands. Join over 1,200 Drive On car enthusiasts and change cars as often as you'd like for just $70 per month. Use promo code SMOKINGTIRE to get your first 2 months free. www.driveon.co. That's www.driveon.co and drive a new car. Wow. Constant new cars. That is awesome. What about ZipRecruiter? Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? How about ZipRecruiter? It's different. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100+ job sites with just one click. Then, their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted to ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free $99. That's right, free, F-R-E-E, my friends. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/first F-I-R-S-T, first. That's ZipRecruiter.com/first. One more time. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/first. How about them Garage Boss oil drain pans? We have an office full of these things right now. I'm going to have to do a Garage Boss giveaway, I think, because we have about 6 oil pans in our office right now. And here's what's cool about these things. The new Reacher Height Adjustable Drain Pan. It reaches up to your drain plug to make sure that you don't spill all over those pretty hands of yours. It gets right under the drain plug to prevent misses or splashes and works with low-profile cars, high-profile cars, cars on ramps or jacks, trucks. It all drains into a sealed container. All you clean up is the catch funnel, and you're done. All the pieces snap back into the drain container when you're finished. Garage Boss also has a new line of crystal clear funnels. See what you poured to prevent overfilling. The clear funnels also aid in cleanup, so you can see that your funnel is completely clean before storing. The Reacher oil drain pan is sold exclusively at AutoZone or AutoZone.com. Check out the video at AutoZone.com. You can go to GarageBoss.com to see everything. You can go to GoGarageBoss.com to see everything they do, or search Amazon.com. Search Garage Boss on Amazon or GoGarageBoss.com. These are some sweet oil drain pans. I've got about 3 years worth of oil changes right in the office right now with these things. Harry's razors. Let me tell you something. These things make you look so money. Yesterday, true story, shaved after 10 days of not shaving while I was on the road. I was looking very Wookiee-like, and I busted out the Harry's razors and the shaving cream, and I went out onto the town, and by that I mean I went up the road to get a burrito. And the girl who made my burrito complimented me on my clean-shaven look with my, she called it, with my skunk beard. And when you combine a clean-shaved look of Harry's razors and then you go get a burrito, the girl who makes that burrito will compliment you on the smoothness of your skin and the skunk-likeness of your beard. That's my promise. Harrys.com/tire. Here's what they're going to do for you at Harry's. They're going to give you a free trial shave set for free when you sign up at Harrys.com/tire. Just pay for shipping. It's a great shave at a fair price. That's why over 3 million guys have switched to Harry's. These people make their own blades. They get them directly to you without the middleman. That's why you can get top quality blades, but at half the price of those drugstores. Free trial offer from Harry's today. It's a $13 value for free when you sign up. Just cover the shipping, including a razor handle, a cartridge with 5 blades on it, rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. Harrys.com/tire, the American spelling, Tire, not for you English folk out there. Harrys.com/US spec tire. And last but not least, it's Forza Motorsport 7. Who's excited? I'm excited. Why? Because it's 4K. It's HDR. It's 60 frames per second. It is the most detailed, most pretty, most glorious racing game ever, with over 700 cars, 30 tracks. It's all happening in Forza Motorsport 7, the most realistic simulator that you can play without being in an actual race car. They have nailed it. It's challenging. It's fun. There's challenges that will keep you occupied for days, weeks, months, even years, folks. Hit us up, TST Racing on Xbox Live if you're in our Xbox hood, and or if you're playing on Forza Horizon 3, we're on there as well. Check it out at xbox.com/Forza and, of course, at ForzaMotorsport.net. Forza Motorsport is the official racing simulator of the Smoke and Tire podcast. I want to talk about John's projects. You got projects.
Got a lot of projects.
John's got projects. You got Supercharged Shelby GT350.
We've got all kinds of stuff.
350 R.
Wait, so here's the thing. The GT350R is a car that I spent a lot of time with. And I tried to buy one. They didn't want to sell me one.
Right.
But I don't really feel like it needs the power. I mean, I know
exactly right.
Everything needs the power if your name is John Hennessey. But
well, Turkey didn't need a duck in it.
But that motor is so lovely that it's not. I didn't drive that car and think it was wanting for anything.
You know, I would agree with you. I went and did the Ford Performance Driving School up in Utah.
In Utah? Did you
and
enjoy
did
it?
their 350s. So and when you buy a 350, you get to do a one-day school for free.
Yeah.
Then you pay to do the second-day school. That car is amazing on the track. And that was just a non-R. I own an R. But here's my dilemma. So I don't have Angeles Crest Highway or your run up to Ojai or Ortega or wherever you guys
You're
run.
invoking Texas,
I'm in
aren't you?
Texas, so I'm in the flat, straight part of Texas. So I don't really have the windy roads to carve on, and so my only knock against that Voodoo 5.2 liter engine, it doesn't have much torque. You got to twist the RPM to get it to go fast, and so anyway, early on, people would say, "Hey, what can you do to it?" We started supercharging them, where we would change out the pistons and rods to lower the compression. Then we've started doing it where we've had basically the stock bottom in, and we've done probably 40 cars
On a
stock
motor,
and make
bolt-on stock motor.
750 to the wheels,
Ooh,
730 to the wheels on like 91 octane gas.
And how does it change the torque curve?
Well, instead of being like 320 to the wheels, it's like 515 to the wheels.
Is the line the same
It's
shape?
very-
It's just
the,
up?
The torque curve is as flat as a table, and then the horsepower is very linear.
It's a root style blower?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a 2.9.
That's got to sound amazing.
Yeah, it probably sounds good.
Yeah, you can go to our website.
What's
Hennessey
that
Performance.
kit going for?
It's $24,000 install with a warranty, and
Not bad.
it's
You have to do
been very
anything else to
popular.
the car?
Sorry,
You have to do anything else to the car?
you really don't. It has brakes, it has suspension, it has wheels and tires. It just needs horsepower. Now, if you want to drag race it, you probably put a clutch in it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to drag race it. I just want more power. I just want to be able to beat up on.
It's Texas. Every time I
ZL1.
go to Texas, all these dudes come up to me and they are all talking about their 900 horsepower Camaros because they all roll race on the highway.
Yeah, that's
the Texas
Texas
way.
That's the Texas roll on.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's just
So,
the way. Okay,
but
so
yeah.
you got that guy
So we've
going.
got that guy going. We're doing a ton with the new ZL1.
That should be fairly straightforward,
it's
right?
very straightforward. I mean, it's the LT4, so we've been modifying those in Z06s for a couple, 3 years now. And
With the ZL1, you're doing the 2.3 and 2.9 blowers. Is that the deal?
no, we have a centrifugal that we've been running, and then we'll also run a 2.9 depending on how
you
the
do a
customer.
centrifugal swap.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that do?
We'll take off the factory blower. The factory blower is tiny. It's a 1.7 liter.
Right, but what do you?
Yeah.
But so what is it? Why not just go with a 2.3 or something so roots blower from the factory?
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
a
I
1.9,
can
1.9.
geek out. The big issue with the LT4, regardless of the platform, is heat management of the supercharger. Now,
Right.
the ZL1 has probably the best thermal dynamics and the best frontal area for cooling.
CTSV is pretty good too.
CTSV is pretty good too. Corvette's not
No.
so much.
I had a whole day with a ZL1 1LE
Yeah.
at VIR
Okay.
for the NBC Sports Show.
Yeah.
Hammered on it.
I love that car. We
Hammered
just got
on
one a
it.
couple days ago.
It was the jam.
Yeah.
It was real nice. I
Mhm.
think it's a tough road car. It's very stiff.
Right.
But you can romp on it all day long.
Yeah.
And not heat soak the motor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
so-
might lose a little bit of horsepower, but like you
Right.
go from 640 to 620. Like, oh no.
Yeah, we modify the stock blowers. I mean, with the stock blower, we can get up to. We've got a few making in the 720, 730 wheel horsepower range. When stock
Is
like
that the
550.
pulley tune?
Pulley headers, tune, cam, exhaust.
And still no
intake.
overheating issues just because they have so many heat
It
exchangers
depends
on
on
it.
the context. We haven't taken that package and tried to go out and put Chris Harris behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Doing a 20-minute stint around COTA on a 100-degree day.
Yeah.
Same thing with like the 350 and the 350R. We tell the client, if you just want something fun and fast to drive on the street, and you're not a high-level experienced driver where you're going to go pound the crap out of it on a road course, then fine. But if you want to
Yeah.
do that, leave it normally aspirated.
Well, I had it on a road course, and frankly, like I'm not Kimi Räikkönen, and I'm not even Chris Harris.
Yeah.
But I mean, that car was fast enough that I could really scare myself.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, actually come to think of it, I went out with Lee Keen. You know Lee.
Yeah, she's
I
a
went out with
badass
Lee
driver.
Keen, and he actually did scare me.
He's a badass.
Yeah,
No,
he
for sure.
scared me in the ZL1 stock.
Yeah.
And my eyes were popping out of my head.
Oh yeah. No,
you know,
that's
most drivers can't keep up with that car.
that's
as
the
is.
reality. Most drivers are not going to go to a road course and drive it at the level
Yeah.
that a Lee Keen or
Yeah.
whoever. Chris
Or
Harris
even a
would
Matt Fair. No.
Yeah. Well.
No, I got my ass handed to me. Timmy, what is that a real thing, John?
Yeah, it's
Are
a
you-
real thing. You're
is
gonna
that
see
real?
one.
Timmy pulls up this six by.
I've got so much. I've got so many toys in the pipeline. It's redonkulous.
Is that looks like a Matchbox car? Is that a real car?
That's a photo render.
Oh, okay. Are you
But
going to build that?
I've got three under construction at the shop.
Of that?
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
for? Is that
Yeah,
six-wheel
it's
drive?
It's $350,000 all in with the truck.
Fuck off.
I'm not
serious.
surprised actually because when the
these guys-
when the Mercedes came out, everyone
The
went,
AMG
"This is the
6x6
best truck
when
ever."
when that truck came out was $700,000.
Yeah.
They sold all 100 and now they're $1 million.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
does
$600,000
one do with that particular
Just
vehicle?
frickin' show off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
because they can. You know?
What don't you do?
So it's
in that
it's
vehicle?
really about Dubai then. Is
Yeah, no. Actually, the three one's going to Japan, tour in the U.S. and
Japan?
That,
I'm
you
sure.
think of the worst
Where do you
place to
drive that,
drive one of those than Japan?
Ingolstadt,
It's
Germany,
like a
maybe.
service vehicle from Mount Fuji.
It looks cool. I'll
Yeah.
give you that looks cool. Pull that back up, Timmy. It looks cool, but so what do you do? What is this? The rear drive unit
I
of
can't
that
tell
look
you.
like?
I can't
Oh,
tell
come
you.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? That's like a straight through pumpkin. It's like a four-way differential, right?
You'll
Goes
find,
in
you'll
one end
find
and
out in due time.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. But it will be on-demand six-wheel. But I mean, most
Oh
people
my
don't need
God.
to.
So we'll
go
have
to
a
six-wheel.
2, 4, and 6-wheel option.
Correct.
Really?
Correct. Yeah.
It'd be funny if you could do brake stands with the middle wheels and not the back.
That's not a bad
That's your
idea.
two-wheel drive.
Your
Do a middle wheel burnout.
Right.
I'll let you do it.
I'll
since
do it if
This
you-
is the smoking
If
tire,
you can
right?
somehow program that, I am down.
I can do that.
A mid-wheel burnout.
Yeah.
So is
You
that
may
a
be the
standard
first
Raptor
person-
Cab? The cab itself
I
is
wonder
standard
if Matt
Raptor.
would be
It's
the
a
first
four-
person in the
it's a
world to
Super
ever
Crew.
do a
It's a four-door.
middle wheel burnout.
Yeah. Well, there's those dump trucks that can like lift one of the wheel sets off when they're not laden
No,
down.
but I wonder if you could be the first person to ever
do
do
a
a
middle
middle wheel burnout.
Call
I'm
Guinness.
down. Why not? Let's figure
All
that
right,
out.
we'll figure it out.
So that's based on a Super Duty chassis.
Correct.
That's
Well, it's based
hope.
on the Super Crew is the four-door.
Oh, Super Crew. I thought
And that's
you said
based
Super Duty.
That's
No.
based off of the Raptor.
The
That's a true
okay.
Raptor. That's not
So you're starting by buying a Raptor.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. There is a guy up in Malibu who's got one of your last gen.
The SUV?
The SUV,
Yeah,
the
the
white
white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jim Gennard, the founder of Oakley Sunglasses.
Oh,
Red,
is that who
Red
that is?
Cameras. Jim's the founder
Oh,
of Red
he's the
Cameras.
Red Cameras
Yeah.
guy.
He's a
I seen
great
him
guy.
driving that thing around. I
Yeah,
guess it's his
yeah.
daily driver or
Yeah,
whatever.
so
right?
He founded Oakley and Red.
Yes.
How did he afford your truck though? Those
You know, a couple nickels under the couch.
Poor
Smart
guy.
Smart
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, he's very
That
smart
was a
dude.
great looking truck though. That was a really good.
I like
SUV.
the
Yeah.
SUV. That
I was driving
cool.
one. We're getting ready to deliver one to a client. We actually delivered two in the last month, and that's
You
one
still
of my
building
favorite.
those?
Yeah. Well, we can. It's just you have to start with a used Raptor, or we can also do it off of a 2016 diesel, up to 2016 diesel F250, which is one that we recently delivered.
So you're
we're
making
not
like
doing
an
them to the aluminum
excursion
body.
kind of, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's like an excursion.
Seems like a really good pre-runner vehicle for a lot of the Baja teams.
off-road. I mean, the Raptor one will go
Oh, for real?
off-road. But
That's what I meant. The
Yeah.
Raptor one because you
but
pre-running
they're
you got
it's
all
the
the
most
stuff in the
comfortable
back.
cruising down the road because the Raptor suspension,
great.
on the Raptor, but once you put like 600 pounds
need
of
to
weight on
load
the
it
back,
up a
when
bit,
you load the
yeah.
rear of it, it just glides down the
Yeah.
highway, just
The Raptor, when it was full of people and gear, rode way better than when it was empty.
cruising down the road.
Yeah. Have you been to Iceland ever?
Never.
You know these Arctic trucks they've got there.
Yeah.
With the
Timmy,
big balloon
pull up
tires.
pull up a Arctic trucks
Like the Hilux, or?
They have Hiluxes, but they do excursions too.
Okay, really?
And they do everything.
Okay.
There's like sprinters, there's excursions,
These
there's
big knobby tires?
E-class vans. Pull up if you can, Timmy, if you can find an excursion Arctic trucks. The excursion looks crazy.
It's just got big knobby tires. What's special about it?
Look at
Ooh,
it,
dude.
dude. Look.
No, these tires.
Those are like 44s.
Really?
It's dude, you need that little picture doesn't
like
really
that.
give you the sense of grand scale of one of these vehicles.
Wow.
If you could find a way to do these,
Okay.
you get bro. They do-
44s?
Yeah.
they had up to what do they have 52s on one?
The biggest they make is a 44.
Holy crap.
But
That's
yeah, they
hilarious.
use those for tourism.
Those
they
are
have
for they give
Mercedes.
tours on glaciers.
Mercedes Sprinter
really?
vans they converted. They used to run the E350 vans, and
Wow.
Ford stopped making them, so they convert Mercedes now. And those things, they drive through town, and they pick
Yeah.
up tourists, and they look. It's a
huge.
monster. It's
It's
like 3
crazy.
stories tall,
Wow.
and it
Wow.
shows up, and
I
people
like
jump
it.
in.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
really
neat.
cool.
I could see you doing. Oh, look at Tim, bottom right of the screen, the van, the silver van. Yes, no, you're just there.
There.
That's it. Pull that. Put that. Oh, it's a
Ugh.
terribly small picture, but
So
that's
the-
that's the jam. Oh, I'm sorry to the audience about the size of that picture. It's gonna be like a thumbnail.
I mean, what's
It's always about
funny-
it's always
Yeah,
about
yeah.
size with you women.
As we look at it, in America, there's so many lifted trucks with giant tires, and we saw the rescue vehicles that we saw on our trip were running like Mickey Thompson 44s.
Yeah.
So they
80
so
series Land Cruisers.
yeah.
Okay.
Kits.
So we see a lot of trucks that might compare to this, but there is a shape to the tire and the width and the fenders that is different from like a lifted
Yeah, well,
Blazer
it's more
here or
like
something
they
like
probably
that.
air them down so you can get on Tundra.
Yeah, they air them
and-
down to like 4 psi.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
crazy.
They drive across the
Look at
glaciers in
that.
the winter
Tell
time.
me that
That-
doesn't
that
look
is cool
amazing,
looking.
right? That's the one to really.
That's like the Top Gear guys when they went to the volcano.
Exactly. That's who made those. It's the exact same thing.
The company
Okay.
we worked with
Okay.
is the ones that built those trucks.
And
And
the fender flares.
a lot of
Yeah.
their trucks now are being used in Antarctica instead of cats to do research and
Oh,
stuff
wow.
because they're
Cheaper
cheaper on
and
gas,
less
easier to
to
get
do.
around,
Well, I'll tell you
faster.
about our business. I don't know about other tuners. Probably 50% of our business are trucks and SUVs now. We
Yeah,
do a
you
lot
got,
of
you got
Escalades.
this 800 horsepower Escalades.
Yeah. I mean,
Is that what people want these days?
Yeah, I've got a new deal that we'll announce here in the next few months of something really kind of crazy in that space. That just a big ginormous SUV because our Middle
Don't
Eastern
tease
clients.
us.
Well, I mean, I'm trying not to like be too much of a tease, but anyway.
Didn't you have like a last gen Suburban that did like under 5 seconds to 60?
yeah,
I
like
think.
4.2 seconds, like running like low 12s in the quarter mile, like 115, 118 miles an hour.
We took his Escalade out. And we did a photo shoot out on the out on your track in
Yeah.
Sealy. It was 102 degrees air temperature, and we had that out there as like a support vehicle. Just we had it running all day with the air conditioning
Yeah.
on, so that the
Yeah.
photographer had his all gear in there. Never had an issue with it.
Yeah, and we
Very
ran
nice
one
unit.
against when the Hellcat first came out a couple years ago. Somebody from Jalopnik or somewhere rolled in, and we figured they said, "Hey, you got anything cool we can drag race against on our drag strip?" I said, "We got this Denali with supercharger that makes a lot of power. It's fast." And so we brought it over, and I put like 6 of my guys in it.
Yeah.
And we ran against the Hellcat. Now the Hellcat has a hard time getting out of the hole.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was ahead of the 8th mile. I mean, so they're properly quick, and now we can put big Brembos on them and proper wheels and tires. So
You
it's
get
not
a
like,
Demon yet?
well, now that we're talking, yes, I got an allocation for a Demon. I just ordered it,
Nice.
bright yellow. I don't know when it comes in. Thanks, Tim Kaniskas and Dodge.
Well, you're
Appreciate
you're the
love.
perfect customer. You want a drag
Well, the
strip.
funny thing
How
is that
about-
so
literally.
talking about the Demon, I could talk a lot about the Demon, but like back 6 months ago when it was really majorly hyped before it came out at New York, I kept thinking, we need to make something to kind of compete with the Demon. And I thought, and I'm taking a shower, and I thought, excuse me, I got the name. I don't know what the car is, but I'm like, we'll call it the Exorcist.
Yeah.
So I came up with the name first, and I'm like, the ZL1's coming out pretty soon. Maybe we can boost that thing up in 1,000 horsepower, which we've done. So anyway, so now
so that's the
we're waiting for it to
Exorcist
cool off.
package on the ZL1?
Yeah, and we've sold quite a few of those too. So that's kind of the answer. And if you don't want a Demon or can't get a Demon, or I think they're going for like 50 to 75 with the sticker. It's crazy.
What a waste of money. No offense to you're not paying that.
No, I'm gonna pay sticker.
Yeah, you
but-
pay sticker. I get it.
Yeah,
A 9-second car for 85
sure.
grand. Like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. But to pay $150,000 or something like that, there's Civic Type R's going. People asking 55
Yeah.
grand for these stupid things.
But when they brought that out, 965, crazy 60-foot time like in the 1.3s, which is
Yeah.
insane. But I don't think Dodge really told the full story of you're going to run 12 psi tire pressure, and it was density altitude of negative 10,000 feet because it was 40 degrees and night. And you got 100-pound Leah Pritchett driving the car, running the numbers. So I think now
No passenger
they've
seat.
run some of the
Yeah.
cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They did a press event recently, and I
Passenger
think
seat's an
they're kind of
option on the car.
in the low 10-second range under real
a
world
real
circumstances.
normalist.
But I think part of the thing was that the NHRA came out and said, well, it's so fast that you have to have a roll cage, and a parachute, which
They
you really
built
don't have to.
who like the Zonda R. They built a race car that you can't race.
Yeah. So I was reading about that, and I thought that's bullshit. And this is before I got an allocation. I thought we're gonna if somebody comes and does a proper, we'll bring in Roy Hill or Frank Hawley or somebody that's a proper drag racing instructor. But if an owner comes in and does the course, we'll let them run their Demons at our drag strip, our quarter-mile track.
Oh, you're doing Demon Drag School?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, we'll bring in somebody, or I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if somebody like Bon Ron or somebody like that did that. But the thing is, NHRA banned the vehicle because you'd have to have a cage. I mean, like those rules are for like 1973 Pinto.
Why have they not updated the rules
I
to
don't know.
reflect the
NHRA,
fact
if
that
you're
you can
watching
buy? Because
this-
isn't the rules like
They-
below 12
Dude,
or something?
it was
It's
like
dumb.
recently, if you were like under 1150, you had to have a 6-point roll cage.
Yeah.
They just changed that.
You
rule
can
few
roll
years
up in a
ago.
McLaren,
I'm like,
or
that's
a
stupid.
911 Turbo just from
you
the
got
dealer.
These, you got these guys running these half-mile events. They're out there wearing their helmet and their gloves with a T-shirt and shorts on, going 230 and a half mile.
Yeah,
I did.
That's not dangerous or anything. But
Yeah.
go to the drag strip, you better have a parachute and a roll cage.
Yeah.
And,
I'm with you. I think
Yeah.
that is an antiquated rule for
So-
sure. I think they should drop that down to like a 10-0 or something
I
like.
think that's.
Well, unless you're
or if you show up in a stock vehicle, you know what I mean.
It's late model. It has
Yeah.
proper brakes and suspensions. Not some old built in your garage jalop.
the farm truck or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there.
you could just
I mean, we
not
have
do
it.
11.5 in the car.
Well, I think that's the thing is that you can launch it and then get to the end of the track and tap.
But
the
no one
brakes.
wants to do that.
No, who
Who
wants
wants
to
to
do
do
that?
that? They
No
bought
one's
the
gonna
car.
buy a
They're
dealer
going to
to do
pay
that.
150 grand and pay 70
No.
over the sticker. So they're like, here's my 965 time slip. You know.
I would be interested to see what a Demon runs in the half. They're
Ooh,
not. They're
wow.
not. The
Oh,
arrow
you're gonna
is
find
not
out.
so
I'm
good
taking
on them.
mine. If I got mine, I'm taking mine at the Texas Mile.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll find out in the half mile. But
Do Hellcats run good in the mile? They don't. They kind of.
well,
all those
the
cars.
aerodynamic-
hit
the
wall
char-
at like 155,
the Charger is
right?
more aerodynamic than the Challenger.
I love the Hellcat Charger. That's
I do
my
too.
car.
That's
Feels
my
way
car.
better
That's
on
my
a track
car,
too.
Yeah.
Weight balance
if
better.
the CTSV didn't have that stupid Q thing, that would be my car.
I agree.
CTSV.
I hate the Q, and that's why I won't own a new Gen 3 CTSV. But it's a great engine. It's a fast car.
Dude, and it's great for sliding. You can do
really?
really good drifts in a CTSV. Yeah.
You know what's another
What you
cool?
should do is reset your brain on Q systems. You buy a 92 Miata like I did, and you listen to the radio in your headphones for like
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah.
and then
you know
don't
what Q
care.
stands for, right? Cadillac Useless Entertainment.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah. Sorry.
God, they
Cadillac.
really-
Sorry, Johan.
they really no.
Yeah.
They hit a,
Yeah.
a
So
foul
otherwise
ball
it's a
far
cool
with that
car.
one.
But well, speaking of Chargers, the 4-door Hellcat, we have 1,000 horsepower, big 4.5 liter, ginormous blower that are making 900 of the wheels.
Just put an air intake on it.
We delivered, yeah, we delivered about a dozen of those.
The program,
And,
some stickers.
Yeah,
Seems
so
like
we
it.
have like a massive amount of new stuff that's
That's
come out.
cool.
It is cool. It's a lot of fun, you know.
What's the volume looking like these days?
We build about 2 cars a day, so
Finish 2 cars a day.
we build 10 cars a week.
Wow.
Yeah, 500 cars a year.
That's a
in
lot.
total. And half of those
And
are
right
trucks
now, are you
SUVs.
only touching brand new cars?
You know, no. I mean, we'll go back. Depends on what the car is, 5 to 10 years. But I mean,
So you
I
won't
like the
build
newer.
Vinny's 2001 Viper.
No, but
Well,
my issue with the Viper is it's hard to get parts.
See, but it's not.
Ah.
See, here was the thing that I learned about the older Vipers, and actually, he indirectly did help build that car because I was on the phone with his techs for the whole first 3 months I had that car. So Patrick did an amazing job, helped me out with a lot of things. But once you go into the research of how parts bin that car is, you do not realize how much Dodge stole everything.
They had no money. They had no budget
So
to build that car.
the whole budget was that. So there's a common issue with those with the first gen Vipers. The power steering pump, the pulley just disintegrates. So they tell you to upgrade it to billet, but you have to press the pulley off. Well, I screwed up my
and
pulley
they
trying
used
to
to
do
get
it.
hot and overheat.
Yeah.
If you tracked them.
So I went to guy at power steering pump, and it's $300 to buy it from Dodge for the Viper. So the guy on the forum says, "Here's the part number. Go to Napa." And so I go to Napa with this part number. I'm like, "I need this." The guy comes out. He's like $42. I'm like,
For a
"Wait,
truck, right?
it's for a 4.7 Grand Cherokee."
Yeah.
$42 with a 2-year warranty.
Yeah.
So then I start getting into stuff.
cool.
I bought all the sway bar end links, Moog sway bar end links, $21 a piece off Amazon.
What are they meant for?
Dodge, Durango, or a Dakota RT. Here's the best: the rear trailing arms. Right, they came off in neon.
No
But you
way.
have to buy them off the neon in
Nice.
2 pieces, and you have to align it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if you buy the Viper ones, they're over twice as much money for the
so
one piece.
funny.
But you start doing this research, everything that's off of that car came from something else. So that's why I was able to fix everything
That's
in that
so
car for almost
funny.
nothing. And it
That's
became a
funny.
challenge. I'm like, the only thing I had an issue with is the evaporator core and the ABS module, because the ABS module was only for those 2 years, and the evaporator core came from something. But like the Gen 3 Viper, all the air conditioning from the Gen 3 Viper is out of a Pacifica.
Oh, it's perfect.
Of course, the
That's
evaporator
hilarious.
core is
Because
$40
you
for
don't
that
need a
car.
specially made air conditioner unless it's
No.
crazy packaging.
I
So they're not
remember
gonna do that.
for my Vanquish, my first gen Vanquish, they wanted $1,700 for a fuel pump, and
Yeah.
it's the same Bosch thing out of an F250.
Yeah.
and it was $186
Yeah.
at
Boom.
AutoZone or something.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
part, same exact part number,
Yeah.
and it went in a bunch of other stuff too. It was in like what other what else? It was in all the Super Duties and the Vanquish and the DB7 and like just everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else is new in the world? What's happening in Monterey? Oh, the new Venom thing. You talking
The
about
new
that?
Venom thing.
This
We
won't-
talked a little bit
this'll-
about it.
This will go up at the right time next
Okay.
Wednesday. It'll be
Okay.
after Pebble.
Okay. Well, we're not unveiling it, Pebble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's like
well,
the-
what we can say is that the public will see the vehicle before Christmas, and
And
it will be
it's-
at a major venue.
Is
I
it
won't say when or where.
Lotus based?
No,
No?
it's his own car.
It is a completely unique.
It's a completely ground up
Really?
chassis, bodywork, powertrain.
Really?
The entire
Is it
entire-
a tube frame chassis?
I can't really talk a whole lot about that. You know? So
I thought you
there'll
were-
be
I thought you were
extensive
doing- I
use
thought
of
you were-
carbon fiber.
I thought you were talking about it. I thought that was the thing.
Does the chassis rhyme
That's
with
the
rub?
thing?
A
Tub.
lot of carbon fiber.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'm
Fine.
sorry. look,
fun.
look, you're my bro. When I can talk about the F5, I will come over here and I won't tell you everything, but I'll give your viewers the scoop early on.
All right, fine.
You know I'm coming back to California at some point in the near future. We'll sit down then.
Do I know that?
You do know that.
I guess I know that.
You were invited to something.
So what's happening in Monterey then if you're not doing that?
What are we doing in Monterey? Just chilling.
We're going to McCall's on Wednesday night.
Wednesday
and then,
night, Thursday, Rolling Concours and Carmel.
So you're just hanging out?
Couple of
You're not even
parties.
working?
We're going to do the
kinda
fuel
working.
run and
Yeah,
hang out with the
doing a
guys
little
from Gold Rush and some of
I've
the
always have a lot of clients that are there and just people in the business. So
networking.
All right.
Networking.
actually, you
show
know
our
what?
face.
I mean, look, I think you and I kind of face the same issue that our passion and our hobby kind of turned into our business or
Oh, yeah.
at least our livelihood.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it became work and we're like, I'm not having fun anymore.
I know.
And people are like, man, you must just have the best job in the world. Well, I have employees and bills and pay taxes and have headaches like any
Yeah.
other business. And so like after 26 years, I've kind of learned that like I have to reinvent myself and I have to like reignite my passion.
I completely
So
understand.
my goal for Monterey, since I'm not showing, I really don't want to work. I want to enjoy the cars and I want to enjoy the people connected with the cars, like Glickenhaus. I'm sure I'll see him at some point. There's all kinds of cool stuff that he's doing, like small volume
he's,
manufacturer-wise. He's out there.
Eccentric, as it were.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
But, so that's kind of my goal. our
Little
goal
research.
for Monterey and Pebble Beach. Enjoy
Leave
the
your
cars.
phone in the hotel room. It's a money move. It's a money move. It's you know what?
That's hard
If you
for me
can
to
let
do.
go, it frees your mind. I had one day at Pebble last year where I left my
Really?
phone in the hotel room. It was gold.
You'll,
I
at
have
least for
5
me, I enjoy
teenagers,
looking
so-
at things more if I don't have my phone because I don't start thinking of how should I frame this shot for Instagram, whatever else. You
Okay.
just like
All
see
right.
it and you remember it and go,
Okay.
oh, cool, move
All
on.
right.
What an interesting
like
idea.
that.
Are we going to start a new trend?
That's a challenge.
I'm telling you, dude, it's hard for me too. I can't. You know what I mean? I'm away from my phone for 30 seconds and I'm freaking
You're like
out.
freaking out.
Yeah.
We were out this morning at a thing having a meeting, and I had no cell service, and like the Wi-Fi was slow as hell, and I was like having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because we're talking, and you forget how just as we're talking about this meeting, and I'm trying to look stuff up, to go back and forth in the meeting. I'm like, I can't find it. I can't find it. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
You freak out. It's very hard for me to let go, but when I do, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So
All right.
happy. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. It's
Yeah.
I'm in the same place. I'm having a hard time talking about cars.
Yeah.
Trying to find other things to talk about. I'm trying to find other people to hang out with that aren't.
Well, it's like you
want to
go. Your situation is a little bit different than mine in that you're traveling and you sample and drive and do lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I could probably do a lot of that similar stuff, but I'm like, I just have to like really focus on what's most important, you know. And but I think that kind of the thing is for me is being able to kind of reconnect with the cars and the people that really matter the most to me. I can't drive all the cars. I can't have an interest in all the cars or all the people
I
necessarily.
understand.
You
I
know?
completely
So-
understand. I'm right now. I really am enjoying when I drive a new like the NSX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other day was just the best. I had the
Right.
best time. Like,
Right.
but once you're driving stuff like that, it's really hard to get super excited about somebody's tuned 1 Series.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
just it's such
yeah.
it's such a different level, and like you definitely understand that like, oh, okay, like this is what this person
Right.
has, and he's got a story, and this car performs well, and whatever.
Right.
But any reasonably modified normal car compared to what these guys are doing now is so
The factory stuff is so good.
so good.
It's so like over the top good. And what I love about watching your one take stuff, and I've always liked about your stuff, is that you're so authentic. And I feel like for our cars, like I've tried to do some similar like impression about our car.
Yeah.
But if I feel like the car isn't there yet or isn't really floating my boat, I'm not going to shoot a video about it because I'm not going to get on the. I can't fake it on the camera.
really
of
hard
like,
to fake
oh, this
it.
car's awesome.
It's
No,
super
it's
hard,
like either
yeah.
it's thrilling me or it's not.
It's super hard, and there's
You know?
cars that I do today that I make that I scheduled a long time ago.
Yeah.
When I was literally trying to cover every base.
Right.
And that strategy worked for a long time, but now I have to really be excited about the car. And if I am, it's a great
Yeah.
video. And if I
Right.
really, this is really interesting, or
Yeah.
it's really fast, or there's something super, super cool about it, then I'm super excited.
Right.
And that comes off. But if it's clearly a video to fill a hole in the marketplace, just to put this peg in this hole,
Right.
I think I can't do a very good job of faking
Sure.
it. So that's why I'm.
What-
Have you ever been in like a tuner car and like been like really like scared like it's the flywheel's going to come through the
So
floorboard.
you know, I'm impressed much more often than I am disappointed.
Right.
It's very rare. I've been in a few cars that are they clearly have some setup issues that people don't know about.
Yeah.
People like their rotors get warped and stuff like that. That's
they're used to it, right? Yeah.
That's people get used to their car's flaws.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's a problem.
for me to go in and be like, "Yo, this is grinding third every time," and they're
Yeah.
like, "I know," you
Hey,
know.
whatever happened to that Ronin guy?
I don't know.
Really?
I devote 0% of my brain power to thinking about that guy.
Okay. Well, I wasn't really trying to bring him up. I was just curious, like.
He's
yeah,
like,
some
literally
crazy
like a
car.
living, breathing troll.
Oh,
If I
sorry.
blocked
Never
him.
mind.
No, I blocked him on all
Okay.
these things because he
And
would
we have to do the
just.
same thing: ban and delete, ban and delete.
I just don't
ban and
understand
delete, you know?
anyone. There's some level. There's people I don't understand. One is guy who seems to have everything. You know, he's wealthy. He's retired. He's got a nice house. He's got all the toys. He's married. I don't know what that life is like for him, but you know, but he just lashes out at people on the internet that either aren't giving him enough attention or enough credit or anything like that. He's very angry, and he's angry in person too.
He just needs a hug.
I don't know,
Well, there you go.
but that
There was a guy that jumped on this. Harris put up a picture of me and made fun of me as he does on Twitter. And there's a 60-year-old guy who his picture on Twitter is him with like a nice watch, sitting in like a white Oxford shirt, like clearly a professional human being and an adult. And he starts ranting about Harris at him, and then he calls me a dork.
Yeah.
And I was like,
What did I do?
What are you? But I just laughed at this person who's clearly an adult,
Yeah.
you know, and
I
has
just try
made
to avoid
it.
all that.
you have to.
And you look with the internet, there's always going to be, like we were talking about, 80-20 rule.
Yep.
80% are cool, 20% are weird and creepy.
Yeah.
And just whatever we can do to sidestep that, because the passion for the cars, the enjoyment of the cars is like, it all goes away when like weird kind of creeps in. So
Yeah. The other person that I don't understand is the person who is very wealthy and then wants to be famous. And so they're already like a multi-millionaire, and then they decide to start a YouTube channel to
Yeah.
show off their own
we just
cars.
saw those guys going down the 405.
I,
Yeah, we
that's
did.
exact. I don't want to name names.
We're not naming
but
any names.
I don't understand. I don't understand. For me,
Right.
it's a living to earn. Like I
Sure.
found a skill that I'm kind of
Right.
good at, and I'm using that skill to earn a living and pay my mortgage. Like if I didn't need to earn that living, I wouldn't be.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
not to get
doing
it too much into the psychoanalysis, I just see guys like the person we're talking about where it's not about the money, it's about just they have a desire for attention.
Yeah.
So instead of buying the Oscar Wienermobile and putting on their clown suit and going down the freeway and saying,
Yeah,
"Hey, look
yeah.
at me,
Yeah.
I got a YouTube channel and an Instagram,"
Yeah.
you know?
But you know
So,
that
that's okay.
that part of everybody's psyche is starting to get exploited, because I've heard stories of some friends that with shows that have been approached by networks and production companies to start their own show, and the latest kick right now is that some of these like reality shows, the production companies or the networks are asking for a piece of their business.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had
I've been
that.
asked that a
I've
bunch.
been
Yeah,
asked
they
that.
want.
so now-
they
so,
want
you know,
10% forever.
Or
No,
more.
they want like 90% and I get to keep 10. I'm like, you know,
and they're
here's
telling
the
these guys,
November.
you know,
Get outta
oh,
here.
well, you'll get $300,000
Yeah.
in
We'll
T-shirt
get a lot
sales
of
the first
t-shirts. We'll sell a
month.
couple $1 million with T-shirts every
You know,
month.
but
Yeah.
some of these guys, because of that same reason, they want to just be famous so bad. They're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
thinking about a good business decision, and next thing you
And then
know,
they're
they're
owned by somebody else.
Yeah.
Well,
No thanks.
TV networks and production companies been in this town long enough to know that they know that
Yeah.
most people are much more interested in being famous than they are with earning a living
Oh, for sure.
at the television
That's how they
show.
profit.
And that's
For
usually
sure.
where me and producers and production companies part ways.
But you can bypass all those fuckers now because you have your audience.
You can. You just
know?
have to hustle extra.
You hustle and you have to be
Yeah.
good and you have to be interesting and you have to be willing to take some risks. You know.
Yeah.
So
And we'll see.
yeah.
And in the future, I'm gonna park cars. It's gonna be great.
Hey, I tell my wife when sometimes when I have a long day, I'll come home. I'm like, honey, I think I'm ready to move to Colorado and be the guy that drives a snowcat.
Oh,
Out in the groom. I
that
get to
guy
ski during the
is
day.
the most zen life,
You know,
right?
I sleep till probably 10:30. Wake up, go out and ski for about 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Come home, spend time with my family. And
Little-
then go get in the snowcat.
little
and go-
snowcatting.
Yeah, get a little snowcatting.
There's
See,
no
in-
traffic on
They're
that
pretty good.
mountain.
In,
know?
in Florida, I'd be the
Nobody's
guy with the
fucking with me.
excavator, sitting in the air conditioning, playing video games all day, and just digging holes and knocking houses
Yeah,
down.
driving,
Yeah.
driving the snowcat.
Yeah, they make good
We'll
money,
see.
and guess what? They get to go home and they check
So
out.
if you ever
They don't
go
bring their work home
skiing
with
and you
them.
see a really fast snowcat up on the mountain,
That's it. Yeah, it's
me.
got a 2.3 liter
6x6.
TVS on
we
it.
upgrade the turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go back to cars you didn't get excited about, was there a car that you built at any time in the last 30 years that you were like, that didn't really work out?
Oh,
you couldn't really
dude.
get excited about?
Shit,
What one that
I
you're
got
you're willing to
I
name?
could define my life by my failures instead of my successes for sure. I mean, E39 M5, bought one of those in 2000. one of the greatest cars of all time.
Was one. Of the
Every
greatest cars.
modification we tried in that car lost horsepower. Everything.
They lose horsepower just driving.
Well, but the one thing that I learned at that point in time is that cars were becoming so much more sophisticated. If you don't have the ability to go in and tune the software, just forget it. You go in there and change intakes and exhausts and turbos, but if you can't manage the software, it's not going to do anything. So, here recently, I'm trying to think if we tried anything that I wasn't happy with. Not really, because if we're not happy with it, we don't sell it. And the stuff that we've been doing here lately is
you're starting with fast cars.
We're starting with fast cars, and we're starting with platforms that, like with the LT4, it's a derivative of the previous generation LS3. Although there was quite a bit
better
different.
for tuning the new LT motors?
Okay, I'll give you the pros and cons in my opinion. The LT direct injection, you don't have to change the fuel system up to about 850 wheel.
Oh.
Okay, so no fuel pumps, no injectors, you don't have to change injectors. If you want to go above 850 wheel, then you have to do quite a bit of work. Mm-hmm. But for most people, 850 wheel, it's 1,000th the motor. That's sufficient power. Look, in my opinion, I think that Chevy went totally the wrong direction from the LS9 and the ZR1 to the LT4 and the Z06. To me, the ZR1 with that LS9 engine was freaking the bomb. It's still the bomb today.
That's actually a really good buy.
That is a great
C6
buy.
Z01s.
If you want to get one, get a 13 because it has the proper seats. But any of those cars are great cars.
Oh, the end of the road.
Last year, the C6 ZR1.
Yeah, with the
it had properly
seats,
supported seats, whereas the other seats are kind of a little swimming around. But I was disappointed in the direction that they went in terms of the overheating issues with intercooling and the overall cooling.
They needed
system
that magazine cover number, didn't they? They needed that 650 horse more than they needed it to last 5 laps.
I don't think we really know all what goes into their decisions, whether it's cost or budget or packaging or weight or whatever. But to me, I'm like, when they went from the C6 ZR1 to the C7 Z06, we modify a lot of those cars. The car was heavier. I think that the engine just, again, they went to a smaller blower. Maybe it's for packaging or weight, but certainly for modifying it wasn't as good. But they had serious thermodynamic issues. Now you see all these spy pictures of the new 01.
Yeah,
they finally opened up the airflow to the front of that thing. I'm like, why didn't you do that?
The Callaway Aero Wagon thing.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
It was disturbingly fast. They go with the 2.3 liter blower.
Yeah.
They cut a hole in the hood, and they have a new front valance, and they open it up, and they have a new radiator, and they have different stuff. And so granted, I drove it on the street. I didn't drive it on the track, so I don't know how it handles track work.
Right.
But it was disturbingly fast.
Yeah.
No,
you can get it. If we want to build a fast C7 Z06 we're doing a Grand Sport right now with 1,000 horse. So we'll basically take the 1.7 liter blower off, and we'll put a big Pro Charger, with an air-to-air intercooler, which works really, really well.
Centrifugal blower.
Centrifugal.
That's the move, huh?
That's
how you.
I like that because it's nice linear power. It doesn't destroy the tires when you hit the throttle, and that's how.
You don't have to cut the hood because speed of packaging, Callaway had to do that.
Reeves, he knows how to build Corvettes better than anybody, but
his car was good.
Yeah,
I was definitely a fan.
Sure.
The one they gave me, their loaner had that just shitbox auto in it, which will suck the fun right out of any car. It's a real piece of shit. That
you don't
gearbox.
like the 8-speed?
No,
really,
it's trash.
Okay, all right.
Have you driven a Zonda?
A Zonda
or a Huayra?
No, I heard that. I heard that gearbox is no bueno too. Actually, but
it's really slow.
No, I don't like the.
For all the great automatic gearboxes out there,
what do you think about
when we're
talking about C7s on the thing I never liked about the 7-speed is it's so notchy. Like you don't know whether you're going for 5th or 7th.
I understand.
You have to, if you're going for 7th, you have to go like way off. And I don't know why you would even ever go into 7th, but like when you're driving hard and you're going from 4th to 5th, better watch out. You go a little too far to the right, and you're going to go into 7th.
You know who's doing that 7-speed right is Porsche. The 911 GTS that I drove recently has a
what
new
does Porsche
shifter.
do wrong exactly?
Not fucking much, really. I mean, pretty much everything I drive of theirs is great. But they have figured out they have their seventh gear has a bit of a detent in it.
Yeah.
The same way like BMW's reverse
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
And so you can go 4.5.
It just
quick.
has a very direct mechanical feel. Well, look, when you're
great.
talking about great gearboxes, what do you think about the gearbox in the ZL11 LE? I love that.
I liked it a
transmission.
lot. I liked
And
it a
then
lot.
the tighter
And the 350,
fourth,
the
fifth, and
350R as well. The
Yeah, the
350R is
350R.
great.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty good.
Compared to the MT82, the
Right.
Chinese gearbox in the GT.
Yeah.
I drove. I mean, I don't want to. I think they make a good supercharger, so I don't want to crap on them. But I drove Roush's Stage 3 Mustang,
right.
and it was like 700 horsepower or
Yeah.
650 or whatever it was.
Right.
But it had that shiny. I got out of the Shelby and into this thing,
Right.
and it was like, oh my god, everything's wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not Roush's fault, though. I mean, that's
Well, it's not Roush's fault.
Is it
but
the factory? It's the factory shifter.
It's the factory shifter on the
okay.
MT82 gearbox,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Okay.
Whatever. Anyway,
Whatever.
I don't necessarily. I don't want to go out of my way to crap on
Yeah.
them, but
No,
compared
no.
to the Tremec they put in the Shelbys,
Right.
which is the same as the ZL1 gearbox, isn't it? As the 1LE.
No,
or
the
similar?
shifter feel. I don't know the details on that, but the shifter
It felt good though.
feels okay. But I think that the ZL1 shifter felt really, really good to me.
That car is very, very fast, man.
Oh, it's
very,
yeah.
very
And
fast.
the one we have in the shop, I put probably 150 miles on the street. I think about daily in that thing.
You got better roads, honestly, than us.
Okay.
In LA, these roads are brutal, and
Yeah.
and I drove the ZL1 1LE from Virginia across North Carolina. It was tough. It beat me up a bit. But
To me, it felt like
hypersensitive.
the Focus. My Focus RS. It's tight like that.
Yeah,
maybe
my
a
Focus
tiny
beats
bit
me up,
tighter.
too.
Have you ever driven yours with the tighter suspension button?
Ugh, for 5 seconds.
The shit out of you.
For 5 seconds.
Let me
and
go
then
get
I
a
went,
baseball
"Nope."
bat and just knock the
Yeah.
crap out of you.
I'm working with KW, which has
Yeah.
the DDC damper, the
Right.
dynamically damper control.
Right.
So that's an electronically controlled aftermarket damper
Yeah.
that comes with a patch, because on the RS, if you take
Right.
out the adaptive suspension, you get a fault. You can't put it in sport mode, and that's the end of that.
Right.
So this has a patch for that, so it doesn't throw a code. And then I'm
How much do
working
you think
with.
that's going to be though? I
How
that's
much
a
will it
key-
cost?
Yeah, for a full
For
kit
me,
of-
zero.
Well,
I'm not
but come on,
concerned.
for the real guy,
I'm not doing
Five
a
grand?
consumer advocate
gotta be
piece.
five
I want my
grand.
spine to
Yeah.
survive the next
You-
2 years.
You want to have a
That's it.
$70,000 Focus RS.
I wonder if you
lease,
get
bro.
your.
Take the parts off. And
Yeah.
they'll be on.
I'll
They'll be
give
on your
them to you.
website.
I'll
Okay.
give them to
all
you.
right,
I wonder
I'll
if you get
take
your
them. I'll
insurance
take
company to
free
pay for that. Because like if
My
you,
health insurance.
Obamacare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
come
Your
on.
health insurance. Because like
Come
if
on.
you needed a step up in your truck, like a lot of times the dealerships will put that in
That's
for
so
free. If you need it,
funny.
if you need hand controls and stuff, you can get your insurance company to pay for it.
But what's
Get your
cool
electric
is
scooter.
We're working with
Scooter store.
DSC. Have you heard of them? They're in North Carolina. This guy Mike Levitas, 24 Hours of Daytona winner,
Okay.
developed this thing called the Dsc Sport Controller, which is a piece of hardware.
Yeah.
You unplug the brain for your adaptive suspension for any car.
Okay.
You plug this thing in, and it turns your adaptive suspension into an active suspension.
Ah.
So when you brake, it loads up the front, and when you accelerate,
Really?
it loads up the rear, and it
That's pretty
moves
cool.
left, right as well,
Yeah.
based on G-forces.
Okay.
And it works with pretty much any car with mag ride,
Right.
any car with adaptive suspension.
What have you driven that has that?
I drove a Z06 that had it.
Yeah.
Mag ride. I drove a Porsche Cayman that had it, and I drove
See the pants that felt pretty good.
It felt very good. And I
Okay.
drove a Viper TA. You need to change the shocks. They use tractive shocks
Yeah.
Okay.
for the Vipers, but it felt great.
Wow.
It was really, really cool. It
Check that
really
out.
it really tamed up the Viper.
Okay.
In a way that I found very pleasant. Like, you want your Viper to be wild, but it
Yeah, but-
really unscarified the Viper.
Scarifies.
And it was really,
I
really
like my
fun.
scary Viper.
I want to drive. Next time I come to Florida, I'm coming to Miami. Will you come down to Miami?
Yeah, we can work
And
something out.
I'm doing some boats in Miami.
Oh
Boats
yeah.
and hose.
Dude, the boat reviews are fun.
that's
I
awesome.
make no money on them.
Yeah.
They all lose
But you
money.
have a passion for boats.
I have a passion for boats.
Right.
I love doing these boats, and it's a mental break. And I got
Didn't you
to
go down
out.
to Thailand or someplace and do
We
a
went
boat
to
thing?
yeah, we went on vacation.
Was that like vacation?
Yeah.
That was our vacation.
Straight
But I made
vacation.
a video, so
Zach,
it's really
we need
a
to start doing
filming
helicopter reviews. Is what I'm
Yes.
thinking. That's what we start doing is
Helicopter
helicopter
trip.
reviews.
The boats are fun.
I'm in.
It's 75 miles an hour on a fountain.
Nice.
Drift missile reviews.
People keep saying we got to do planes, but I don't know how to fly. So
I have no interest in flying until I get to like a MiG level. Anything below that, I'm like, yay, 100 miles an hour, 40,000 feet up in the ground. You can't, no perspective of speed. Yeah.
So we got about.
So can I hijack this and just
yeah.
for a
Hijack
quick
it,
question?
come on.
Yeah.
So John and I were talking about this on the way here, and I want to get your opinion on this because this is you guys are car guys and you're out and about and everywhere like this, and I asked John his opinion on this. So in Tampa, everybody's got cars and coffee now, right? So where I live over in Florida, there's like 3 that happen in a month, right? So 2 of them are actually decent, one's kind of eh. So the idea that I had the other day was, when's the last time you guys were at a swap meet? Like an
I went to
old
the
school
Pomona swap meet like 2 years ago. It was hilarious.
So lucky enough in California, you guys have this. But I was thinking to convert the 1 week that's kind of weak to like a local swap meet, but for guys like us. I mean, all of us have crap laying around our house everywhere. I mean, how do you think that would go off? I mean, I'd love to hear from like the listeners in their city. If they did.
Beverly Hills, you'd roll up and there'd be like this guy would have a table full of Rolexes.
He'd have a torque wrench. He doesn't know why.
Like matched luggage for Wyras.
That's hilarious.
That would be cool, though.
I don't know. I don't think we have enough crap.
But
Eat a lot of crap.
there are people.
But
that
would you go
have,
and buy crap?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Pomona swap meet. I thought
right.
I didn't. I'm not. I think I bought a few
Hey,
tools.
look. So if I had a swap meet out at my place in Sealy at the
That'd be
racetrack,
hilarious. I
I'll
bet.
buy you a plane ticket.
In
You come out
Texas,
and do
it'd be
that-
great.
Would you be like the masters of ceremonies and
At your swap meet?
We'll rent you a pickup truck and all the junk, all the crap you can buy. You can drive it back to California.
If you book them, they will come.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You heard it here.
Because
heard
look
it
at
first.
foreign marketplaces. Everyone's selling shocks and they're selling shifters
Right.
and all that stuff. So if you did
But then you got
that,
to meet up with them, and you got to
Yeah,
right.
eBay
Craigslist
and all this
program,
stuff.
which
No, we're
most
talking
people
old
do.
school swap
No, I
meet.
know-
Bring
no.
cash, leave with cash.
right?
Right.
It's
You know-
take the form thing and just
Right.
bring it into a local
Right.
location.
I mean, like you do it once a month, like a cars and instead of do something different. I mean,
It
these
could
cars
be
and
fun.
coffees are always happening.
Hey,
I think it could be
We'll
fun.
call
I
it
think it'd be
junk
fun.
and coffee.
Some idiot emailed me from Europe and bought from New York and bought the trademark for Cars and Coffee.
Oh,
and so
really?
he invited me to the first ever Cars and Coffee, and I was like, "What are you, a fucking asshole?"
He needs
Anyway, he was like, "No, first, the first under the trademark." He's like, "This isn't going to be like other events."
He's
We're gonna
ruining
put-
it.
Well, I
it's-
think
he's
the
really
original
ruining
Cars
it.
and Coffee was started in Orange County by
Yeah.
John Clinay.
Yeah.
It was a Ford PR guy.
Yeah, I believe
like
so.
15 years ago or something.
At
So,
the-
I think it was longer than that.
so
So
if that guy thinks that he owns the trademark,
they started it
he
in
may
Crystal
get it.
Cove. Because
Yeah,
I remember
Crystal
coming down
Cove
here in
before-
Crystal
yeah.
Cove,
And then they had it
and
out at
they
the
stole
Ford
that
Moss
idea from the
place.
Donut Derelicts
Yeah.
from back in the day.
No, nobody owns. You can trademark it, but like nobody.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
just it's just a shared
If you never got a
thing.
chance to go to the Crystal
Yes, I
Cove
only
one, John, I know.
trademarked a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
Thank
Right,
you very
exactly.
much. Okay.
The
I
new
w-
one is the Trankist one is the new cool one.
No, they're never
It's
going to
the
tap
once
the
a
Crystal
month.
Cove. I went to the Crystal Cove one year.
Trankist,
We were
what's
here
that?
to do the
It's
Anaheim
not-
Auto Show, and I went out there to Crystal Cove. There was a Vector W8 there.
Oh, that's
there
probably
was
Uyghur.
an Enzo.
The Jerry
and,
Uyghur.
Yeah.
I was just
I mean-
at the Trankist one, and there was the
was like
Vector
teal?
WX3 AvTech. Remember that?
Whoa.
So that was
Yeah.
the second gen body on the first gen chassis before they scrapped the project. That was
Did
Uyghur.
Lamborghini buy Vector at one point in time? Back?
No, I don't know if they bought Vector or they just supplied powertrains,
Okay.
but it was the second gen Vector was basically a Diablo reskin.
Now, every
Yeah,
time, a lot
that
of times
thing's
I
There's
see.
that
Yeah.
Timmy top left, the light blue. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one I
the
saw.
Vector WX3 AvTech.
Jerry's an interesting
That
guy.
might be my photograph. That looks like the one off my Instagram. Jerry was wearing the Joey Buttafuoco pants.
Ooh,
you know those
yeah.
the wrestling pants.
Yo, you talking to me?
Yeah, but what a neat
Velcros
what a neat car that is to have come up with. I mean, 3 across seating.
Yeah.
Right? So that was an Oldsmobile Toronado
Nice.
427 with twin turbos on it, transverse mounted in the back with a 3-speed automatic transmission. What a disastrous engine layout.
What an idea! On paper.
Who thought that was going to work?
Hey, you said it.
Like they sat around and they went, wait, I can make it worse. Here's what we
Wait,
do.
hang on,
Yeah.
guys.
But wait, there's more.
Hold my beer while I completely fuck this up.
I feel like this was made before whiteboards were invented, so they wrote it down and they're like, it's already in pen. We can't change this.
That looks like the development car because that picture, pull that Timmy up. The bench seat. That's
Oh,
the one
yeah.
with the bench seat.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
Look out, McLaren F1.
It looks like an arcade game. You get in and you play some terrible Ridge Racer in like
That's a
'88.
date car right there.
Yeah.
That's a date
That's
car.
what he was
Yeah.
thinking. What was he thinking? He was thinking, when I design my supercar,
2 words
my
for you.
girlfriend is going to be
Road
able to suck my
head.
dick
Yeah.
without this
Road head.
without some silly
La, 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 la,
transmission.
la. Wait a second. No center console, no shifter.
Imagine
Make it
the-
a bench seat.
Maybe that's where it
Imagine the
all
press
came
conference.
from. His girlfriend kept saying no because there was a shifter in her chest, and he's like, "That's it."
Some guy at Lamborghini's going, oh my God.
Right, someone in a very tight suit is going, "This is genius." That's funny. All right, we got about
funny.
15 minutes of this show. We got some Facebooking.
We got a lot of Facebook questions.
We got a
Do
lot
we?
of Facebook
All right.
questions.
Yeah.
Not all of them were mean.
Okay, good.
There were a couple that
That's
were
all
mean.
right.
We turned all the mean ones
The
into
internet
one.
warriors.
Into one question.
Oh boy, here we go.
And then we have
Save
actually
that.
some nice
Bonus
ones.
round.
All right, here we
No,
go.
no,
Go,
we have,
just fire 'em
we
off.
have
All right.
proper, interesting, good questions.
Let me
All
put on
right,
my-
this one's cool.
Let me
So-
put on my Nomex.
Say you were born 20 years earlier, and your career along with your name were the same, but you started in the 70s. So where would you have started, and what would a proper Hennessey classic car look like?
Ooh,
70s. So
that's a really good
What would you
question.
have built in 1980?
A van.
Well, look, I mean, in the late 70s was like dismal. I mean, that
Yeah.
was like. So I had a muscle car. I had an Olds 442 convertible was my first car, and that was like 1977, 78. But like, we didn't have any money for new cars, and the new cars were like the Mustang too.
Yeah,
like
they're
the
terrible.
car, like the Motor Trend car of the year with like 184 horsepower.
Yeah.
you know?
King
and
Cobra.
So those days were like that. Those were like the doldrums. Like
Turbo
from,
Trans Am?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from like
Could've been
from
hanging out with Gale
76
Banks.
to probably 86 was like there wasn't shit. Okay, new. Okay?
Yeah.
Unless it was like a Porsche Turbo.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah,
like a
930 turbo.
That was it.
But you know,
But
who's got
that,
the
even
kind of
that
money
was
for
80
those?
grand in the early 80s.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
the
that was
M6.
Yeah, so I mean,
Shark
so,
nose?
so to answer the question, you know, back in those days, like again, I can remember as a kid going to the grocery store. My mom would shop, and I would just go hang out at the magazine stand. You know, read magazines. I was reading about Gale Banks and Reese Calloway.
Yeah.
you know, was doing some pretty cool stuff. So I think
They
if
were
I-
doing Volkswagens.
They were doing Volkswagens,
superchargers on Vol-
Alphas, doing all kinds of
Pete
weird
Calloway
stuff.
came on the show and
Yeah.
told us all kind of crazy stories.
Oh sure, I'm
There's
sure.
a Callaway twin turbo speedster for sale right now on eBay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Reserves not met at like 82 grand. You'd have to really want it. But I
Yeah.
looked at it and went, "Oh God!" Actually, you wanna know what I did? I don't know if I should even say this, but I did.
Tell us.
I sent Lee Keen a deposit check for a Safari 911.
Really?
It's 2 years is the waiting list, but I sent him a deposit check.
Wow.
Wow.
2 years.
Yeah, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens in 2
Yeah,
years.
you
He'll give
never
me my
know.
money back if it all falls apart.
It's true.
But I was thinking, like, I saw that one of the trackers, and I was like, that's it. That's the Safari 911 is the shit. So
Yeah.
that's
It's a fun mobile.
hell
It's
yeah.
a total fun
Yeah.
mobile.
What
got
else?
so much character.
So if you, in the
So-
early 80s, you could be a Reeves Calloway or a Gale Banks
I
if
don't
you
know.
were
I mean,
a generation
back in
ahead.
those days, I was out in my driveway, working on my 442 and, trying to get more horsepower of it by taking the air intake lid and flipping it upside
Yeah.
down. And
Isn't that what
Yeah.
Will Ferrell does in Old School?
He takes off the restriction
worked.
plate.
That's what
It
he
works.
did back in the
Off the
day.
restriction.
It
Take the
absolutely
old water
works.
dog,
Yeah.
4 barrel.
It ain't
but,
exactly legal. So
but back in the day, I was reading Hot Rod magazine and stuff like that. But I didn't have any money, so But if I was if I was that age back in those days, I'm sure I would have probably taken whatever the best cool stuff was at the time and tried to make it better. But
you'd have made the 200 horsepower
the
quarter.
Yeah.
Euro tuners, like the
Well,
who was the BMW tuner that did Alpina,
Alpina.
doing the
Alpina,
crazy
AMG.
graphics,
Sure,
and
right. I don't know. I think at the time, I would be our core values would basically be make it go faster.
yeah.
So the looks is somewhat secondary to just out and out.
You don't
speed and
change how your. I
performance.
mean, with the exception of them trucks, you don't really change how your cars look. You put some
Look,
floor
I mean,
mats and some
I mean,
embroidery and a
again,
badge.
you talk about
Yeah.
these guys are you want to change the suspension, and I agree with you that the like in the RS, maybe it is a little bit stiff, but we try to take cars that are already pretty well dialed in from the factory that are begging for more horsepower. The 350 Mustang is begging
Yeah.
for more horsepower.
I would like to see how that handles on a racetrack. Honestly,
All right, you tell
I
me.
really would because. The 350R out of the
Well, it's
box
not designed
was
for
so
race. It's
playful.
it's not designed for racetrack. It's designed for hauling ass in the street. Now, if you want to go run
Could
through
it-
your
do you
canyons,
think it could hold up to
I don't
a
know.
few laps of
not with Randy Post
okay.
for 20 minutes, maybe with you for
Maybe.
5 minutes.
maybe,
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe if it was a nice
I don't know.
cool- if it was a nice
I
cool
just don't
day.
know. That wasn't what it was intended for, but it was intended for just hauling
Street
ass in the
car.
street for
Yeah.
just average driver.
Yeah. I'd still like to figure. Wouldn't you like to figure out what it would take though? I mean, I don't want to blow your car up, but
No,
I,
I mean at some point,
I think it'd be a fun experiment.
yeah, it might be a fun
Not
experiment.
not at Willow Springs in August, but
Right.
maybe maybe at a place that's reasonable temperature.
Yeah,
and a
but again, it
reasonable
was
time.
we didn't design it for. If I wanted to build a car to road race that could withstand a leaking,
You'd
to go
build
out
an
and
NA car.
I could boost it, but I would do it completely different. I would lower the compression, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I would do differently.
Chris Harris at VIR kept talking about wanting to buy. There's like 3 Z28s 5th gen
Yeah, I remember you
Z28
guys
in
saying about
England.
he was in
No,
love with that
he
Z28.
just. I'm telling you, 2 days ago, he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, "Man, I still want to get one of those Z28s."
I told him, I said, "You get a Z28, send it to me, and I'll
Yeah.
hook you up, brother."
It was just heads cam. That was it. Heads cam
headers.
exhaust. That was it. Yeah.
Heads cam headers. Yeah, and
That
a
was
tune,
it.
injectors and. yeah.
What else we got from Facebook?
What does the tuning and aftermarket world look like as more hybrid assist sports cars are coming out?
I don't see a big change for what I'm doing for the next at least 10 years. Now, I read somewhere earlier that, Merkel in Germany said that they're going to determine at what year they're going to stop building, gasoline-powered vehicles, whatever. I'm like,
That shit
look,
is
I'll be-
bullshit. That's a governmental
look,
publicity
Yeah.
stunt.
I'll be 55 this year. I'll probably do this till the day I die, but I don't see it affecting my business for the next 10 years. It really kind of depends on what the OEMs are doing. Now, I was in Detroit a few weeks ago and was at a deal, and I was there with a Ford exec who's working in their electric car division. I said, "Is this like a flash in the pan or here to stay?" It's like, "Oh no, it's here to
It's
here to stay." But I think that like when my kids are like, it's probably 20 years down the road. We don't really know. But I'm like, look, I mean, today, like, look at the Viper. The Viper was a recreation of the original Shelby Cobra that was built back in the 60s. So I think there's always going to be a group of people, maybe they're 16 today, and when they're 36, they'll have the money to have something cool that sounds good. If I were building an electric car, I would build an electric car that had a gearbox that had sound to it. I would design an electric car that had an
was like a
honest,
manual.
visceral, that all of a sudden, when you give it the beans, it makes noise because it's performing and not just be driving around in a golf cart.
The stuff they're doing, like the NSX and the 918 and the new Panamera Turbo E-Hybrid, like that stuff is
they're badass.
really,
That's
really
real,
neat.
and
I imagine it's got to be on, there's not a lot of companies out there. As far as a tuner company, you have a pretty big budget to work with in the grand scheme of tuner companies,
Right.
like you, APR, Cobb.
Right.
There's 4 or 5 big companies that can do it, but even you would have probably trouble allocating the resources to really hack into these.
I don't know that we would want to, because a lot of those cars, when they get out of warranty, they're going to be pretty crazy to fix anyway.
God, imagine an out of warranty 918 Spider.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you
What
look
a
5 years from
disaster.
now, I mean, probably all the McLarens and Porsches new, they'll be, a hybridized version of that. We'll have 200 more horsepower than the non-hybrid.
Dude, there's a
version.
company. You heard of this company, Hypercar Development?
The McLaren guys.
Yeah,
With the triple turbo.
I'm driving that thing
Are you
next
really?
week. The
Okay.
3 turbo.
Cool, all
yeah,
right.
I'm really
Well,
excited.
let me know how
Actually,
that goes.
It should be cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, it works.
Right.
Apparently, it works. They're bringing it out here to test 91 octane.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be driving it on Insano Boost because I'm going to
Right.
be driving it on 91
Captain
octane. But
Insano.
it's got a 3rd fucking turbo. Who cares? It's
very
SEO
cool.
gold, my friends.
Yeah.
You want to make a video? That's the way to do it.
Third turbo.
3rd turbo.
like a
SEO
third
gold,
nipple.
Right?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Who doesn't want to see that?
Apparently, they know what they're doing. They're very nice people.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have a
great.
go.
Someone wants to know about oddballs. What weird stuff have you worked on in the past?
Oh, I love oddballs. I live for oddball cars.
3000
I like wagons.
GT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3000 GT. My Hammer wagon, Cadillac CTSV wagon.
You still
with-
got that thing? Or
Yeah.
you sell it?
I've owned a bunch of them. The one that I modified the most, heads cam, upgraded blower, made like 700 wheel without nitrous, and with nitrous about 800 wheel. And
Didn't you put a
think we
Venom motor in one? Oh, that was a coupe. That was
yeah,
a
no,
coupe.
we've done half a dozen of those. And
Did you do a wagon ever?
we did do a wagon
With the Venom
with
motor,
the
right?
wide
I remember
body.
seeing
yeah,
The
it
red
was
one?
crazy.
It belongs to a doctor from Alaska.
Alaska?
We
what
ran-
a terrible
yeah.
place to drive a car like that.
We ran
No.
that wagon was a manual. It ran 140 mile an hour down the quarter mile. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even full boost. I mean, it was just like on pump.
Is that the
gas.
red one you had in your showroom?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's amazing. So he takes that on road trips. He's got an Atlas in the back seat of that car,
Yeah.
about an inch and a half thick,
Yeah,
and
he drives the
he
shit
takes
out
it
of
and
it.
visits his family, and he
yeah.
road
God,
trips it.
That's cool.
I gotta do
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah.
I really feel the need for like a recreational
Road
you know,
trip?
journey. Yeah.
I just
It's
did
hard
it.
in
I just
California when you like, because we've gone to the good places
Yeah.
in California,
Yeah.
and to get to the next level of awesome shit, you literally have to drive across 1,000 miles of
Right.
desert.
Yeah.
I just did it in my Land Cruiser. I got in my car last week that you were up in New York. I was up there too. I got my Land Cruiser, just drove up to Jersey, go visit everybody for a
Remember
few
they
days.
built the Dodge Ram trucks with the SRT10 with the Viper.
Yeah, yeah.
The Viper
Yeah.
trucks, yeah.
In the mid 2000s, we did a twin turbo system on those.
I bet traction was at a premium there.
Oh, so we start off with, they originally just came out as the 2-door truck with a manual,
Yeah.
6-speed manual.
Yeah.
And so we did a twin turbo on one of those. And I remember I went to one of the Viper Invitationals, there was a guy there that had a blown supercharged Viper and was a pretty fast car. I think it was a high 10-second car at the time. Anyway, so we went out for a freeway roll because this thing was in Texas. I said, I got a pickup truck I'll run you in. And so that truck was only making like maybe 750 wheel, and I just smashed him. I just drug him. Probably 2 truck lengths. Probably about 150.
Truck lengths.
You know, and so it's like, like when you give a beat down to another guy in a fast car, in like a pickup truck or a station wagon, to me that's very satisfying.
I forgot what I was
that.
driving. It was your Camaro. It was one of your last gen ZL1, and then you had me with in your wagon with like 4 dudes in it.
Yeah,
yeah. It was good. No, I get it.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird.
The trucks are definitely they're a weird one.
Yeah,
but you don't do like. Oh, I guess you just did Amber's Corvette. That's a weird one, right?
Yeah, we just
But it
was kind of a weird car.
But you guys also do just a lot of volume business, a lot of Camaros and Vets.
We've done.
So we started off doing all kinds of weird stuff, and then we just when I bought the racetrack and I built this ginormous building, you know, I just kind of got into the groove of doing production stuff where, you know, there's a lot of shops out there that'll build your 3,000 horsepower, half mile, 1 mile specialty car. But I found like a niche of our clients, you know, if they get a Raptor with, you know, 450 horsepower and we can give it 600 and it comes with a warranty and it passes smog and we can build it in 30 days, we build a lot of those. So again, it's 80-20 rule, but we still have our weird 1 or 2 vehicles a month. Like we just fired up a twin turbo Huracan yesterday. And so
that's a one-off kit.
You know, and now it'll be a production series, but I've really kind of gotten away from the customer that wants to come in and like, basically become like a family member. Like they're always there. They're always talking about their car. And you see these other guys out there that have these shops that build these fast cars. Well, when 75% of their customers are like those guys,
you never get anything done.
You're not going to get anything done. You're not going to make any money.
I completely understand.
And so you're out there like, I'm setting records and doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden I'm not making any money, and all I do is text and talk to these guys all day long.
You got the same 6 customers.
So we've really kind of gone on more of a production, small volume production model, like whether it's Shelby or Roush, and we try to be a little more extreme in terms of our performance offerings. But, you know, honestly, as a business guy and with 5 kids I got to put through college, I find it better where we do the R&D on something, you know, and then we basically make money by selling 100 or 200 of those versus like I spent all the R&D on this car, now it's crazy fast, but like nobody wants to buy it. Now the next one's a one-off, you know, and it's just hard to commercialize those.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, having a showpiece is one thing, but you know, you can only sell so many showpieces.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you look back on the Venom GT as a success?
I do.
Was it? I mean,
I do.
In a business, I mean, obviously you got a lot of PR out of it, and the cars are. I look, my 20 minutes that I had driving that car was fucking delightful.
It was great for us too. Thank you for doing that. But 5 or 6 million.
I think that video has a lot of views. But more than the views, I really enjoyed driving it, and I think a lot of people, the car was misunderstood.
Right. And I didn't manage that well. That's why I'm not saying things to you today, because I would just like somebody stick a camera in my face and I would tell them something, and then once that was out and it wasn't really, and then it evolved into something else, I couldn't pull it back.
Right.
So I'd be much more careful with the F5.
John's embargoed himself.
Yeah, and
that's what I'm hearing.
Like, my mouth.
Look, that could be a good idea.
Yeah.
That could be a good
we
plan.
have to have better message discipline. But I'll tell you, on the Venom GT, what started off as just a freaking crazy idea.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't drinking or doing anything when I made the decision to do that car. You know, kind of starting off with the crazy idea, building it, and then having this goal of like beating Bugatti. When we eventually did it, it felt very satisfying. So of the dozen road cars that we sold, you know, we made money, so it was a profitable program. I wished we had sold. I intended to build 30.
Yeah.
But
if the 918 and LaFerrari and them didn't come out that year, I think
we
you could have got another couple years out of it.
We would have sold a few more, but you know, look, ultimately at the end of the day, when people see it online, they see some Lotus connection to it, whether it's the headlights, taillights, or whatever. You've seen it up close and personal. It's quite a bit different. But if I had that car to do it all over again,
it looks Lotus-like.
Yeah, I would have given it its own bespoke look. But hey, look, here's the cool thing about it. We learned so much about that car. We learned how to build a small volume niche production series car, even though we're using the cockpit from the Lotus and the headlights and stuff. And so I thought, okay, let's take what we learned out of that. Let's talk to guys that own Veyrons and Paganis and Koenigseggs and these other very niche boutique cars. I began kind of that market survey study in the last 4 years, And I think that what you'll see from the F5 will answer a lot of those questions while being true to who we are, and that is about being the fastest. Not apologizing about it, but making the most crazy, fastest performing vehicle that we know how to build. So
that car was the Venom was, I think was different about it from the Lotus was like the ride quality was really good with the extended wheelbase and stuff like that.
You're very
the
right.
Power steering. I think that the very few of us that were actually fortunate enough to drive it, Dickie Meaden,
really,
you know, he loved it.
Yeah.
I forgot, did Travis someone drove it?
I drove Travis. In the
you
car.
Drove it in it. Yeah. Someone else had to go in it. I forget
Tom
who it was.
Ford,
Oh yeah,
the
Tom
Top
Ford.
Gear guys.
Yeah, the people that drove it, we had a good time.
I mean, I could list all my failures in terms of why it wasn't more successful commercially, but you know, had I built a dedicated press car and a dedicated like customer car, you know, I was talking with a guy that has an F5 on order who owns all the cars, all the hypercars, the Holy Trinity, and all of them, and all the great new ones that are coming. Valkyrie and the new AMG Project One and so forth, and he liked the idea of the Venom GT, but he just couldn't get over it was derived from the Lotus. And I said where I failed was, as I said, and I said he owns a couple 3 different Bugattis. He's got a new Chiron that'll be in soon, and he says, you know, I hate the way the Bugatti looks. I'm like, why do you have freaking $10 million worth of Bugattis? He says, well, I love the way it drives and the way it performs. I'm like, I totally failed because had you had the balls to drive the Venom GT, or if you just rode in one, it would like blow your mind. Because
it was pretty fucking
again,
nuts.
I mean, there's again, if you just talk about like some of these half mile racers, there's absolute speed. But when you drive the Venom GT, especially with the roof off,
it was so crazy,
and it's just very satisfying. And if like you're into snow skiing or doing any kind of a sport that requires skill, where you like once you do it or do it well, you feel good about yourself, like going down a black diamond or double black diamond or something like that, you feel like you've accomplished something. That's the experience of driving the Venom GT. So the new car won't be quite as edgy as the Venom GT, but it'll be faster.
The Venom was.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And quite a bit more comfortable.
One of the most memorable rides of my life, I would say.
Cool.
Definitely.
The Venom, I thought it looked good. I mean,
I
thought
did
it was.
too. I
generally, it's an attractive car.
Right.
You know, you roll the dice. Fuck, you could have built an ultimate arrow. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing was heinous. You know, that was like a Diablo's sad brother. I don't care how fast it went.
Right.
You know, that was an ugly car with an ugly interior. You know, and you build your own car. You roll the disc, you roll the dice, and it could be heinous looking.
Many have tried.
Many.
I think that probably the closest analogy to what we did is somewhat like what Carroll Shelby did when he took the AC chassis and married it with the So I think in a more complicated, sophisticated way.
Showroom too. It made it very easy for me to draw that parallel.
But the funny thing is, to this day, nobody looks at that car and says, "Well, it looks like an AC." They all look at it as a Cobra. So anyway,
I drove an AC Escalade that my friend John has, and with a car that it's based on.
Great looking
and
car.
it was
Which motor?
Beautiful. The 6, straight 6.
Yeah.
I think it's from BMW actually. And AC. Tim, pull up AC. It's ACECA, Escalade, and it was the coupe.
Okay.
And there it is, the black one, and that's John Bothwell's car.
Oh wow.
And it's
Nice.
a looker, man. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
That's a pretty car, and it
if
drove
you put
nice.
a Ferrari badge on that, it would be
that could
10 times the
easily
money.
be an early Ferrari or
looks
like a
like that.
Cunningham or an Aston Martin or anything of that period.
Early
It
Vector. Very
I'll
much.
give you a little bit of a scoop, and I've maybe talked about this loosely, but I haven't really. No media person has knocked on my door or caught me at the wrong time. So one of the things that we've done with the new car, the F5, is I felt like it was important to establish a standalone, dedicated company towards building cars, and so we've set up a new corporation, Hennessey Special Vehicles LLC, and the F5 will be the first of more vehicles that we plan to build. And I felt like I needed to separate it from our performance tuning business, which is doing very well. But I think that the idea of, there's guys out there that kind of, they build their car and then they kind of disappear. I don't want to do that. I've got a great team of people, and at some point when I get old and I'm gone or whatever, whether it's my kids or our team, I want us to continue building cars. And I think one company that I have a lot of admiration for the cars and the people building them is McLaren. I've gotten to know Mike Flewitt, their CEO, pretty well, and I just think some of the cars they're building are amazing. And this is a company, obviously, it's been around a long time building Formula One cars,
but not road cars.
But not road cars. They've been building road cars for 8 years.
Yeah,
and look at what they've done. So if in some small way we can be an American version of McLaren, that's kind of our goal.
Well, someone who's driven a lot of McLarens, take my advice: get your electronics right.
Well,
don't make them yourself.
I don't know. I haven't
any
spent
British
that much
car,
time
though.
Any
driving
British
British,
cars. No,
yeah.
I just did a 570 GT for a week. It was lovely.
Yeah.
It had some issues. I think McLaren has made a mistake of giving out some early cars as press cars. They just don't have the resources to build extra production. And I understand a small volume company like that can happen, and I cut them some slack.
Sure.
But we had some electronic hiccups in the car we had, but it drove. Oof, it was good.
Right.
When you drive a 570 GT and you put someone who's never been in a car like that in the passenger seat, and you take them for a proper go, and then you get out of the car and you go, by the way, this is the slowest car that they make right now, and there was people like, what? Shocked.
Right. So there'll be more cars after the
Cool.
F5. Yeah,
that's neat.
Yeah,
Like all dedicated, all bespoke cars, or are we talking about like a roof situation here, where the car is different enough that you can call
TBD.
it something?
No, so I think if you follow what Jim Glickenhaus has done and is doing in terms of the new one of the recent transportation bills that was passed, as far as being able to be a small volume, low volume manufacturing,
that's working for a lot of people.
We're looking at that very, very closely, and so that allows up to 325 vehicles a year to be able to be produced without having to do crash testing and airbag certification. So we'll see what that looks like, but I would like to do 250 cars a year, and I won't tell you kind of what we're looking at in terms of, but when you look at kind of the space of where the Ford GT operates in that $500,000 range, I think that there's some room for some cooler cars in that space.
Fucking rich people, man.
Hey, look.
Like there's too many rich people.
Yeah, but rich people can spend their money. They can blow on a lot of other crap.
I mean, they can give it to you. They can give it to me. They could do whatever.
They can do all kinds
but
of
it's
stuff.
crazy
so.
that there needs to be a hole filled in the $500,000 car.
But if you look at
people see that as a
but
gap in the marketplace.
Look at the UK. They have their laws are set up where you have Morgan, you have the.
They're hanging on by a thread.
Yeah,
I wouldn't base your business on
TVR.
TVR.
But my point is that you have small volume manufacturers over there that are making cool niche cars. That have a following. They employ people. They help. I think there's an opportunity to impact.
Talking about building cars in Texas.
Absolutely.
America.
Absolutely. America. Come on.
And I think there's enough enthusiasts.
I got my own little Fiorano test track out there.
True. And you do have you have property behind your main building where you could build another building, right?
We're thinking about at some point maybe expanding and building a road course there whenever Texas World Speedway closes down.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Texas World Speedway, holy shit.
That's a
that
fun
place.
track.
I went there last year with a couple
a bit of
guys.
a dump, but the track's fun.
Well, it's like the apocalypse. Like the road, the track surface itself is okay, but the grandstands are like literally collapsing.
Yeah.
And then you go out on the former NASCAR circuit, and there's just like
you
trees.
don't want to get on the oval. That's not a good idea.
Man,
But the road course is
were
pretty
you with
cool.
me when I hit a bush?
We were doing
some car-to-car filming on the banking, and I just ran over like a giant shrub.
Yeah,
These
things happen.
ridiculous. So before we wrap this up, I'm going to let you go. You've been around, but what's with the tune? What's going on with Tuner School right now? Because you got some nasty PR a few months ago. It didn't go well.
So look, now let me cut to the chase. Jalopnik's full of shit. Okay, let's just get right down to the business. Those fuckers at Gawker. They got in trouble.
Univision, por favor.
They went BK. Okay, they got bought out. They got bought up by Univision, whoever bought them.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys are gone. Tuner School is kicking ass, in spite of a total bullshit article that was written by some joker that's here. Okay, and his boss is in Austin. What's the little weasel, Patrick, whatever his name is? Patrick George. Okay, that fucker's 100 miles from my shop. We invited him to come down and come visit and see what we do. No. So look.
Was there a
I'm not gonna give
disgruntled student, pretty much?
There was one. I mean, there was one student who was having a not a good experience. And bottom line is he came in and before he came in and talked to anybody, he just went to Reddit or something
and wrote a ranty
and
post.
ranted about it. And then we found out about it. And look, if somebody's not happy, they can get a refund. They can leave the program. but we never got a chance to do that. And all of a sudden now it's a big fucking internet big deal.
It spirals up or it spirals down.
Whatever. I mean, but look, I say this whole thing with fake news, there's an agenda behind it. It was total bullshit. I feel like the whole thing was submarine. I'm like, okay, if some one dude is ranting and not having a good experience, okay.
Yeah.
He's talking about on Reddit and people can frickin' stir all up. But when somebody that claims to be a news organization wants to frickin' throw us into the bus, get in your frickin' car and come down at least. Talk to the other 20 people that were in the class.
Yeah, I suppose if you're gonna.
I mean, what about your business? What about if this is Matt Farah's livelihood?
Jalopnik actually did turn something I said into a story that got me in trouble once.
There you go.
I repeated something I was told about a certain person who damaged a certain amount of press cars.
So that's my point.
That became a scoop.
Obviously it's very personal to me because I feel like it totally misrepresented the school and the program. I mean, that article came out almost a year and a half ago. We've had 85 students come through the program since then. Where's their Reddit article?
Was he expecting a different education experience than he got? And that was
look, at that particular class, it was the largest class that we ever had. We had, I think, 24 students in at the time. You know what? Some people that that are in. Have you guys ever noticed somebody in school that was just like generally unhappy with everything in life?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm not saying that was the case with this young man, but I don't think that his experience with the school was his entire reason for being unhappy with wherever he was at. And so, again, if he'd come in to me or a director and said, hey, look, I'm not happy. I don't feel like I'm getting what I thought I was going to get, we would have absolutely given him a refund and let him go on his way, and that would have been that. And look, I mean, we did when that whole thing blew up. I'm like, what things do we need to do to make sure that we are giving the best possible experience that we can to our students? But I mean, we've had students,
have you
from
put
all over
like
the world.
caps on class sizes or anything like that? So
just organically. I mean, we don't offer any kind of financing. So the program, that we have between here lately, we've been like 15 to 20 students per class. I think we'll cap it at probably 24. But yeah, I mean, I think that's. Let me tell you something. So we had a graduation last week, and I've been modifying cars for 26 years, and a lot of what we try to put in our tuner school program is geared towards, like we've all modified our stuff, right? For everything that we know that works, we messed up 10 different things. They broke, they caught on fire, they cost us a bunch of money, they crashed.
Yeah.
So tuner school is really kind of like a way of coming in and being able to come in and learn stuff with minimizing all those mistakes, right?
We pulled up your tuner school promotional video from 2012 before you came in, which exists and has some traffic. We just to watch it, just to be like, because we just talked about briefly, that article, and we were like, what does it seem that is advertised, And it seems like what the impression we got from that video, which is online and people can go watch, was that it's pretty much a confidence builder in wrenching. Come wrench on our cars and learn.
It's
learn
much more than. I mean, confidence is part of it, but I think it's really a program where. I mean, dude, I would love for you to just like come for a semester. I won't tell a freaking soul you're showing up.
I'm the worst wrench ever.
Well,
I don't even enjoy it. I appreciate that, but I don't even enjoy it. I really don't. Every time I wrench, I'm hurt.
So
I break. I hurt myself. It's terrible.
All right. Well, anyway, look, the
you.
offer's
I
open.
suck.
But so like what we've come to find out is that the students really come and they learn more about themselves. They learn what they're good at. They learn what they think they're good at, but they're probably not. They do, I think, gain confidence in certain areas. We offer an extensive amount of fabrication and welding that they get to do that we don't really advertise. It kind of depends on their desire and their aptitude, but our main fabricator for Hennessey Performance, depending on his workload, he'll work with them and help with their welding skills. And I think that what we've seen is whether it's with younger guys out of the military, some guys out of the military that had a hard experience that are maybe dealing with some PTSD or issues along those lines from combat or just stress from their time in service, we see lives that are changed in tuner school. And I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, I modify a lot of cars. We built some really cool cars. You had a really, really cool experience in the Venom GT. They didn't change your life. I mean,
it did recalibrate my senses for about 6 months.
And I appreciate that. But I've never had a customer come and say, this car changed my life. I've had students tell me, crying, that the program changed their life. It's not about me. I mean, I have a whole team of guys that they become friends to these guys. They can become mentors to these guys, our instructors, and they're like a little family. And to some degree, I'm maybe a little bit of an outsider in that because I'm not with them all the time. And so they have a tight little community, and they help each other, and they help each other find jobs. They help each other through situations with family and life. And so, I told that to, we had a graduation. We have it at our shop now. So we have the students, whatever family and friends they want to invite, and then all the employees. So it was probably 80 people in there in total last week. And I said, we've probably modified 10,000 cars in the last 26 years. But no customer's ever said that car changed my life. But I know we're changing lives because, look, and it's not because of us, but I think that the program can take somebody's life and point it in a trajectory of positivity and maybe away from despair. Or away from something that they weren't sure about. They find a passion. And I think probably to some degree you do that with the people that watch. Are probably younger and they kind of help fuel their passion.
I think I've done it before when people have asked me, how I do this job,
Sure.
and I give them a couple pointers. And
I've asked you about podcasting. You've helped me with a lot of different information.
They circle back a year later, going here's the work I've done, or here's my website, or here's my YouTube channel, and then people. They need a little nudge and a little direction, and then they get out and make something of themselves.
Yeah, so look at me. If there was any legit, news organization, media organization that wanted to find out about tuner school or what's it's really about, I mean, there's lots and lots of graduates out there that they can talk to. But unfortunately, the Jalopnik people just wanted to go off of one guy. They didn't talk to anybody else. They just spun his story into it's a bad school, and you got this goofball guy that writes for him that's, I think, here in L.A. somewhere that went to community college and learned how to weld, and he's one of these kind of closet know-it-all people. So I'm like, if somebody wants to do real journalism, they can see what the program's all about, and we're very proud of it.
Invitation to somebody, someone who's more.
Yeah. Somebody take Matt's place.
Someone take my place. So I'll send you down there with a GoPro.
Andrew
back some videos. Collins, he probably would.
A wrench.
Well, look, we got to wrap this up because we got to go to Beverly Hills and do some car things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're heading off to Monterey. I'm jealous because I do love Pebble Weekend, but I also need a break from traveling, so I'm going to abstain from that.
Be
one
well,
this year.
brother. Kind of recharge your batteries and.
A lot of gym. A lot of reorganizing our disaster of a studio.
Will you be ready for a GT350R with a little more extra power?
No, let's I would love to make a video of that. Let's talk about what days work. And absolutely, I've
got more cool stuff we'll send out here at some point.
SEO gold.
Absolutely.
Well, when I have
even without 3 turbos.
When I have my building open right up the road next year, you can, when you need to send cars out for loans, you can do that kind of stuff.
Cool.
John Hennessey, thank you very much for having us.
Right.
Plugs, website.
HennesseyPerformance.com, tunerschool.com.
Your Instagram is dope. What's your Instagram?
Hennessey Performance.
Hennessey Performance
on Instagram, and we're just chilling.
And Vinny Russo in the house. The $10,000 Viper saga continues. The what do you want to plug? Anything?
Nothing. Just came to hang out.
Instagram? Just came to hang out?
My Instagram. No. Oh, I just came to hang out.
All right.
Say hi to everybody.
Check out Vinny's adventures on Rob Ferretti's YouTube channel with the Viper, and go back in the day. The original $500 car challenge.
We need to do that
Vinny
again.
really funny.
We keep saying we need to do it again.
Dude, I really do. Except Rob always wants to do it in New Jersey or something.
I know.
We need the benefit of the desert, and then we can go out and really have fun. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in. It's been a pleasure to have you. I'm sorry about the stupid air conditioning, but we'll get that
I needed a good sweat.
Yeah. I know. I wanted a podcast and have a sauna.
Yeah, exactly.
And, the Smoking Tire Podcast is, as always, powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. You just need a microphone, like my awesome new microphone that I have here. I feel super legit, but you don't need that. You can use the crappiest microphone, like the one Zach has. And you just need a computer and internet connection and something to say. Check it out at shoutengine.com. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next Wednesday.